Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Today we begin a brand new Superman adventure. An adventure packed with mystery and action and fun with the most surprising detective you've ever met, Horatio F. Horn.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, is your appetite all primed to eat hearty when you show up at the breakfast table in the morning? Well, it's bound to be if there's a bowl of Kellogg's Pep waiting for you. And it'll get an extra lift if you'll treat yourself to a Peach Rocket. That's this week's Pep Dish of the Week, you know. And it's a knockout. Try it tomorrow. First, line the sides of your breakfast bowl with slices of firm, ripe peaches. Arrange them so that they're pointing up, you know, like rockets. Pour your serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, in the middle so the peaches show up above the flakes. Then milk and sugar, and that's all it takes to make a Peach Rocket, a dish that'll make your appetite really skyrocket. You see, Kellogg's Pep does something for the fruit. It's crisp and it's crunchy and teases your taste so that you keep right on eating until your bowl is polished off clean. And you know, it's very important not to waste cereal nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls across the seas. So, gang, be sure to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When the local telegrapher in the tiny hamlet of Squeen Run, Ohio, transcribed a certain message, he stared at it unbelievingly, then leaped to the telephone and called the Daily Planet newspaper in Metropolis. Unable to contact Editor Perry White, the telegrapher, who was also the local correspondent for the Planet, began bombarding White with letters and telegrams, demanding that at least 2 top-notch reporters be sent to Squeen Run at once to cover a story of world-shaking importance. White's annoyance increased as the telegrapher correspondent wired that he was coming to Metropolis in person, and then sent almost hourly wires announcing his progress on his journey. As we continue now, the gray-haired editor, at the end of his patience, has summoned Clark Kent and Lois Lane to his office. Listen.
And just 5 minutes ago, Beanie brought me another telegram from this crackpot announcing that he will arrive here in the Daily Planet office at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock? It's just 5 to 3 now.
It is? Good gravy.
Well, now, look, Chief, what's all the fuss about? For the life of me, I can't see why
You can't see why I don't want this place cluttered up with small-town correspondents who want to sell me what they call front-page stories out in Squeedunk?
I thought you said it was Squeen Run.
Oh, what's the difference? Squeedunk or Squeen Run. I want one or both of you to intercept that character and keep him out of my hair.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Take it easy. Maybe this guy's really got a big story.
What? Are you kidding?
No, isn't it possible that he
Just
stumbled
the
on...
same, I don't want to see him. You understand? Tell him I'm going to India, China, or...
Excuse me, Mr.
Well, what do you want, nuisance?
Nothing except there's a a gentleman outside who said you were expecting him at 3 o'clock.
Uh-oh.
Right on time.
Well, you tell him I'm not in. And I'm not into anyone for the rest of the day. You get that?
Yes, sir. I'll tell him, but he
Hold it,
said...
Beanie, hold it. Who is this man?
Why, he said his name is...
Horatio F. Horn, sir.
What?
Squeen Run correspondent for the great Metropolis Daily Planet. At your service, sir.
Now, look here, mister. You got no right
It's all right, Beanie. It's all right. You may go now.
Yes, get out of my side door. By George,
Okay, but I don't know what you're so sore at me for.
Now, sir, you, I assume, are Mr. Perry White, my editor.
Your editor.
That's right, Mr. Horn. Yes, I'm Clark Kent, and this is Miss Lois Lane.
How do you do, Mr. Horn, is it?
Yes, Horatio F., for French, Horn. I've long admired the repertorial work of each of you, and it is both a delight and a pleasure to be professionally associated with you.
No, this is too much.
Why, thank you. The pleasure's all mine.
Well, thank you, Miss Lane.
We think you've done a fine job of reporting local events in Squeen Run, Mr. Horn.
Such praise from a reporter of your caliber and standing, Mr. Kent, is very flattering indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Horn.
Is it asking too much for this lovely meeting of the Alphonse and Gaston Mutual Admiration Society be adjourned just long enough for me to find out what in blazes brings our esteemed colleague from Squeedunk?
Squeen Run, sir.
What brings you here from wherever it is?
A scoop, sir, a stupendous news beat.
Really?
Yes, a momentous news story of world-taking importance.
You've said that before in 2 long letters and 6 collect telegrams. Now, will you please be more explicit?
Yes, please do tell us what event of universal interest is brewing in Squeen Run.
Oh, nothing of such vital proportions ever happened in Squeen Run, Miss Lane.
Then what in thunder have you been writing and talking about?
I never said, sir, or even implied that the locale for this tremendous scoop was Squeen Run. It's in fact... Well, it's just that, as detective, I was able to...
Are you a detective, Mr. Horn?
Certainly. Did I neglect to tell you that?
You sure did.
Good Godfrey, what next?
See, here is my badge. Here's a card which identifies me as a bona fide graduate of the FCSDI.
FCD what?
FCSDI.
Oh.
Famous Correspondence School Detective Institute, from which I am proud to say I was graduated summa cum laude.
No, that's fine. That's just great.
Go on, Mr. Horn. You were saying...
Oh, yes. As a detective, I was able to decode a telegram referring to the well-known atomic scientist, Professor Alonzo Sturgeon. And that's
Wait a minute. Where did you get hold of the telegram about Professor Sturgeon?
Why, I intercepted it.
How?
Very simply. You see, I just... oh, dear, how stupid of me. I forgot to tell you that I am also the telegraph operator in Squeen Run.
You are?
No, this is too much. Newspaper correspondent, detective, telegraph operator. Is there anything else you do there?
Oh, why, yes. Every Saturday
Never
I...
mind that now, Mr. Horn. Let's get back to the telegram about the famous Professor Sturgeon, shall we? Do you have a copy of it with you, Mr. Horn?
Oh, certainly not. The rules of the telegraph company expressly prohibit such practice.
They do. I see. Well, but tell us how you happened to intercept this message.
Well, sir, it happened a few days ago when the cable crossing at Blandon was washed out, and for nearly 12 hours I was kept at my key, relaying message to local circuits. Early in the morning, my attention was attracted to a particular message for 2 reasons. First, Mr. White, because it was addressed to you.
To me?
Correct, sir. It was addressed to Perry White, Maple Lodge, Nashville.
Maple Lodge? Why, I never even heard of the place. Why should anyone want to wire me up there?
Obviously, someone is using your name for some nefarious purpose. And as a detective, it was immediately obvious that the code message was never meant for you.
How did you know the message was in code?
Elementary, my dear Miss Lane, elementary. You see, the message, as it was written, made no sense.
Neither do you, for my money.
Oh, you do me a great injustice, Mr. White, as you will see in a moment. Now, by applying the rules as propounded in my detective manual, I decoded the message to read as follows. Airship Big Fish Atom not later than July 2nd. That's today. You get that?
Certainly not. Doesn't make sense to me.
Tell me, how do you get a reference to Professor Sturgeon out of that, Mr. Horn?
From the 2 words, big fish. Big fish, sturgeon. Simple, eh?
Oh, yes, very simple.
Seems rather far-fetched to me.
Oh, no, not at all. Now, look. Since Professor Sturgeon is one of the greatest living authorities on the atom, the connection is obvious because, A, the very fact that it was coded implies something of great and vital importance, something secret. B, the fact that it was addressed to Perry White and yet was not meant for our Perry White implies an attempt to make it appear innocuous. Do you follow me so far?
No.
Go on, Mr. Horn. Go on,
let's see. Where was I? Oh, yes. A, B, and now C. The current world interest in atomic energy, coupled with the implied secrecy and vital importance, makes it obvious that the words big fish and atom, unquote, refer to Professor Sturgeon, one of the greatest authorities on atomic fission, you see?
Atomic fish. Yes, it begins to make sense to me, too.
I seem to see a glimmer of light, too.
Well, I don't. So far as I'm concerned, this is a lot of dribble dreamed up in the lame brain of a correspondence school detective. And I'll have none of it.
Now, look, Chief.
You heard what I said, Kent. Well, and so did you, Mr. Horatio F. for French Horn. So take your phony scoop story back to Squeen Run and don't bother with me again with anything but local news.
But, Mr. White, you're making...
You heard what I said, now beat it. Kent, for the love of heaven, take him out of here before I really blow my top.
You must try to forgive the chief for acting like that, Mr. Horn.
Yes, you see, he's just gone through a very trying experience in which he narrowly escaped death.
Yes, I understand. Just the same, I've never been so humiliated in my life. The way I feel right now, I'm tempted to sever my connection with the Daily Planet and offer my services to the Blaze.
Oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do anything like that. I believe there's something in your story about danger to Professor Sturgeon.
So do I.
You do?
Yes. Now, tell me, have you made an attempt to contact Professor Sturgeon to see if he
Yes,
might recognize...
Yes, indeed I have. 3 times I called him long distance, but each time I was not allowed to talk with him personally. His butler insisted the doctor was not available.
Oh, I see.
Today, when I arrived in Metropolis, I called again. No one answered.
Maybe he's out of town.
Impossible. I happen to know that he's supposed to stand by for a rush call from Operation Crossroads, the atom bomb project at Bikini.
Oh, you may have received that call and rushed out there.
That's right.
Well, perhaps, but I still feel uneasy.
I don't know why, but if it'll set your mind at ease, let's run out to Professor Sturgeon's place. Maybe we'll find someone there who can give us more information.
Bully idea, by Gulliver. Let's go.
Still more curious than alarmed, Clark Kent drives Lois Lane and their peculiar colleague, Horatio F. Horn, out to the suburban home of Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, eminent atomic scientist. What will they find there? We'll know more in just a moment, so stand by for the tense climax of today's episode.
Say, gang, how'd you make out with breakfast this morning? Hope you ate the hearty sort of meal that helps start your day in high. And believe me, you can hardly miss if Kellogg's Pep heads the menu. Because Pep is so terrific, you want to eat hearty. First off, it looks neat in the dish, all golden and crisp and toasty. Then, when you spoon up those tender whole wheat flakes, you get a slick treat in that sparkling sunshine flavor. Why, Pep is even called the Sunshine Cereal. And is it good for you? Why, you just ask Mom about the solid nourishment that comes in whole wheat. No kidding, gang. Kellogg's Pep has the old stuff that makes breakfast a mighty smooth meal. So keep on the sunbeam. Eat up every single spoonful of Kellogg's Pep in your bowl. And keep in mind that nowadays, the cereal grains are being sent to fellows and girls all over the world. So you wouldn't want to waste cereal. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, appoint yourself a committee of one to help guard against waste. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and polish off every bit you pour out. Remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
To satisfy the uneasiness felt by the Daily Planet's eccentric local correspondent from Squeen Run, Horatio F. Horn, who claims to have decoded a mysterious message indicating danger to Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, Clark Kent drove Horn and Lois Lane to the atom scientist's suburban home, where we find them now.
Isn't it lovely out here in the country?
Beautiful. Perfectly beautiful. Did you ring the bell, Miss Kent?
No use. There's no one home.
Oh, now, really, Clark, how can you tell that?
Well, I just know that's all.
Well, let's ring anyhow and see. Now, here it is.
I tell you, that's a waste of time. What's more, something's happened here that makes me think that message you decoded meant business, Mr. Horn.
Really?
What do you mean, Clark?
Come inside and I'll show you. I think the door's open.
By Gulliver, it is open. That's strange.
Not half so strange as what may have happened to Professor Sturgeon. Look there, in the study.
Good heavens.
Why, the place is a shambles. As if there'd been a terrible fight.
Shocked, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Horatio Horn stare in horror at the obvious signs of a terrific struggle, which give mute testimony to the fate that has befallen the great atom bomb scientist. What has happened to Professor Sturgeon? Has the eminent authority on atomic energy fallen into the hands of ruthless fascist seekers after world domination? A real job develops for Superman in this new and exciting adventure, one that taxes the superhuman powers of the Man of Steel to the utmost. So don't miss a single thrilling episode. Tune in again tomorrow, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, think of all the famous names you know, and you'll think of Kellogg, the greatest name in cereal. Then you'll think of Kellogg's Shredded Wheat. Makes breakfast loads of fun. Crisp, tender biscuits of whole wheat, toasted just right and packed with natural nut-sweet flavor. Just the right size, too, made to fit the bowl. As for nutrition, well, Mom knows that whole wheat is mighty good for you. And for economy, she likes the 15 biscuits in every package. Try Kellogg's Shredded Wheat. You'll like it. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, the deductions made by Horatio F. Horn seem well-founded as Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and the amateur detectives arrive at Professor Sturgeon's house to find the noted scientist mysteriously missing.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, good as gold is a comparison that's been kicking around for a long time. But it sure does take on new meaning when you apply it to that sunny breakfast cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Why, Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's golden to look at, good as gold to taste. Yes, sir, that sparkling sunshine flavor sure does give your morning appetite the old 1-2. And are those whole wheat flakes tender? Are they crunchy? Are they terrific? Believe me, the spoon that comes up filled with Kellogg's Pep goes right back for more. In double quick time, your bowl is polished off clean as a whistle, which is always a good idea because Pep is good for you. Gives you solid whole wheat nourishment plus. And it's particularly important nowadays not to waste cereal because we're sending the cereal grains to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls all over the world. Think of that when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. Don't waste it. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and finish off every bit you pour out. And say, kind of keep watch on your younger brothers and sisters, too. Get the right habit, gang. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When an obscure local correspondent for the Daily Planet from a tiny hamlet, an eccentric little man who introduced himself as Horatio F., or French, Horn, claims to have intercepted and decoded a mysterious message indicating that Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, famous atom bomb scientist, is in danger, Editor Perry White ordered him out of the office. But Clark Kent and Lois Lane thought there might be something in Horn's story. Unable to reach Professor Sturgeon by phone, Kent drove Lois and Horn to the scientist's suburban home. As we join them today, they are in Professor Sturgeon's wrecked study, amid unmistakable evidence of a recent struggle. Listen.
What do you think happened here, Claude?
I'd say someone put up a terrific fight, Lois.
Yes, indeed. A simply terrific fight. And I'll wager my favorite mustache cup against a buffalo nickel it was Professor Sturgeon.
Well, could be, but whom was he fighting, Mr. Horn?
Yes, and why?
I can't say whom exactly, but I can say why. The reason is, of course, perfectly clear from the telegram I decoded.
Oh, yes, clear as mud.
Would you mind repeating that message, please, Mr. Horn?
Not at all, sir, not at all. Let me see. I should have it here someplace. That's strange. Now, what did I do? Oh, yes, here it is. It says, Airship Big Fish Atom not later than July 2nd, signed ISS.
And you figure Big Fish Atom to be Professor Sturgeon.
Precisely. Doesn't Big Fish and Atom mean Professor Sturgeon, atomic scientist to you, Mr. Kent?
Well, assuming that what you say is correct, especially since Professor Sturgeon has mysteriously disappeared on July 2nd, the date mentioned in the telegram.
If that's true, hadn't we better call the police?
I was just about to suggest that. Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
Listen.
Oh, yes.
Is that something noise?
Yes. By Gulliver, it sounds like a...
Clark, what do you think it is?
It's a man bound and gagged, locked in a closet in the hall.
What?
Follow me.
Peculiar. I was about to venture the same guess.
I'm not guessing.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you can see through walls like Superman.
Ridiculous. Mr. Kent must be endowed with a sixth sense.
Yes, I suppose I am.
Now, look here, Clark.
Here we are.
That's just...
See, the key's in the lock.
I'll open it.
It is a man.
And he's bound and gagged.
All right, mister. All right, relax. I'll have your gag undone in a second. Mr. Horn, Lois, untie his arms and legs.
One moment. I'll use my pocket knife to cut those ropes. My detective course taught me that knots can be valuable evidence.
Oh, you and your detective course.
There you are, the gag's off.
Now. Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, what a horrible, nasty thing to put in one's mouth.
There you are. Your hands free.
And your legs.
Oh, how wonderful. I was beginning to feel something like, well, you know.
Yes, of course. Now, tell us, who are you?
Well, before I reveal anything to you, it's my duty to ask first, who are you?
Well, of all the
I'm
nerve.
Clark Kent. This is Miss Lane and Mr. Horn. We're reporters from the Daily Planet. We came out here to see Professor Sturgeon.
Oh, poor Professor Sturgeon.
Why?
He fought so valiantly with those horrible men, but they overpowered
What
him.
men?
What did they want?
Please, start at the beginning and tell us what happened, will you?
Very well. You see, I'm Breckenridge, Professor Sturgeon's man.
Yes.
His valet and butler, you know.
Yes, go on.
Well, early this afternoon, I answered the doorbell to find several gentlemen who wished to see Professor Sturgeon. I told them that the professor was at work in his study and had left word that he was not to be disturbed, but they insisted.
And Professor Sturgeon saw them?
Yes. It appears that they represented a scientific group of some sort, or at least they claim so.
What was the name of the group? Do you recall?
No, sir. The name escapes me at the moment.
We'll come back to that later. Go on, Breckenridge.
At any rate, they had with them a medal which they showed Professor Sturgeon and which they said was to be presented to the professor this evening at a meeting of their group.
This evening, eh?
That's right, sir.
Who started the fight?
Well, I'm coming to that, miss. It happened when Professor Sturgeon declined the honor.
Why?
Oh, I can't tell you, sir. I was called away to answer the telephone at that moment. And then I heard heated quarrel in the study. I rushed back here and Professor Sturgeon's callers were threatening him.
Oh, they were, eh?
Yes. He ordered them to leave. Instead, one of them pulled a pistol from his pocket. This made Professor Sturgeon furious. And he threw a paperweight, knocking the firearm from the man's hand.
Good heavens.
A brave man, Professor Sturgeon. A brave man indeed.
Brave but foolhardy. Then what happened?
Oh, General Millay, a battle of fisticuffs followed, in which Professor Sturgeon and I were no match for our more burly assailants. A blow on the head knocked the poor man unconscious. And while two of them carried him out to a waiting vehicle, that's a light truck, you know, another fetched me a blow on the head. When I awoke, I was as you found me, trussed up and locked in that closet.
Now, by Gulliver, do you believe that the message I intercepted really indicated danger to Professor Sturgeon?
Certainly do. Look, Breckenridge, did any of those men identify themselves by name?
Let me... Oh, yes. One of them asked to be announced as Dr. Leon Carlos.
Leon Carlos.
Yes, sir. A swarthy person, rather a Latin type, I would say.
Aha, a Spaniard.
Now, don't let's jump to conclusions, Horn. Think, Breckenridge. Maybe you can remember the name of the society he claimed to represent.
Sorry, sir. I can't for the life of me remember it.
That's too bad. Did you notice anything special about the truck?
No, sir.
Oh, surely you noticed the license number, Breckenridge. That's the first rule in crime detection.
I am not a detective, sir, but a gentleman's gentleman. Besides, I was much too busy trying to defend myself.
But you
Skip
should
it,
have...
Mr. Horn, skip it. Look, Lois, we'd better contact the police at once.
Right,
Suppose
sir.
you call Inspector Henderson, huh? Give him a fast resume of what's happened here and suggest he rush out in a hurry.
Okay. Where's your phone, Breckenridge?
This way, miss. Will you follow me?
Now, what was the address to which that code message was sent, Mr. Horn?
Let me see. Oh, yes, here it is. Maple Lodge, Blue Mountain.
Thanks. I'll see you later.
But where are you going, Mr. Kent?
Oh, just have a look around outside. You stick around with Miss Lane, will you, and wait for the police. I better go have a look at what goes on at Maple Lodge.
As Superman. Got a hunch Professor Sturgeon's disappearance means too much to world peace to leave any stone unturned. There we are. Now, up, and away!
This is Maple Lodge, isn't it?
You seen the sign, didn't you?
Yes, of course. Just making sure, you know. You live here, do you?
No, I'm the caretaker. What do you want?
Oh, nothing special. Just wondered who lives here.
Nobody here now but me, so I can't see how that's any of your business.
Well, it is my business. That is, if Carlos is here.
Who'd you say?
You know, Dr. Leon Carlos.
I've never heard of him.
Come on, quit stalling. I've got to see Carlos on important business. It's about the big fish. Know what I mean?
The big... No, that don't mean nothing to me, but if you mean the guy that lived here before, he left a forwarding address.
Oh, really? What is it?
96 Walnut Street. That's in Metropolis.
96 Walnut Street. Say, you mind if I use your phone?
Well, we ain't got no phone here, mister.
But I
said we ain't got no phone. Now beat it. There's a storm coming up. I got work to do.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a minute, pal. Well, thanks, and so long. I'll be seeing you again. I don't like that bird's looks one bit, or the way he responded to the name Leon Carlos. Something going on, all right, but what? Certainly there was nothing in evidence up here at the lodge, at least nothing my X-ray examination of the house could spot. But I did catch my caretaker friend in a lie because there is a telephone there. I saw it. Well, I guess this is far enough away from him, and these bushes will provide an excellent screen.
Now, off with these clothes. Back to Metropolis by Superman Express. Maybe a quick look at 96 Walnut Street will turn up a clue. There we are, all set now, up through those storm clouds. Up and away!
Zooming into the storm-darkened sky, Superman rockets toward Metropolis, and a shocking surprise. We'll rejoin him in a moment for the suspenseful climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, let me tell you about an exciting 4th of July adventure in good eating that the Kellogg Company has dreamed up for your breakfast tomorrow morning. This week's Pep Dish of the Week has an adventurous name, too. It's Peach Rocket, a slick dish that'll send your appetite skyrocketing come breakfast time. Now, here's how it goes. You line the sides of your bowl with slices of fresh peaches, so they're pointing up like rockets. Then pour on your serving of Kellogg's Pep so the tips of the peaches still shoot up at the top. Add milk and sugar, and there's your Peach Rocket, a dish that tastes as nifty as its name. Of course, it's Kellogg's Pep that makes this super combination taste super terrific. Pep is crisp. Pep is tender. Pep is full up of sparkling sunshine flavor that gives your appetite such a lift that, well, you're busy eating until you've finished off every crunchy flake in your bowl. And that's the hep thing to do, especially nowadays when the cereal grains are being sent to fellas and girls overseas. So, gang, when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, make sure it's not wasted. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. That's important, gang. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Plowing his way through a heavy thunderstorm that envelops the Blue Mountains, Superman arrives finally at Metropolis. Then, resuming his guise and garb of Clark Kent reporter, he sets out for 96 Walnut Street, the address given him by the man at Maple Lodge. As we rejoin him now, Kent is walking along, peering at the numbers of the buildings, when he runs into an old friend.
Hello there, Officer Clancy.
Well, if it ain't me old friend Clark Kent, the demon reporter. And what would you be doing down in this neighborhood, me bucko?
Well, what I'm looking for at the moment is 96 Walnut Street.
96 Walnut, do you say?
That's right. You see, I have reason to believe that a party I'm looking for can be found at that address.
Do you now?
Uh-huh.
Well, what would you be saying if I told you you're standing right at what would be 96 Walnut Street this very minute?
Right in front of... Clancy, this is an empty lot.
Right you are. The building that was numbered 96 was torn down 5 years ago and never rebuilt.
Momentarily shocked at the realization that he has been duped, Clark Kent stands and gazes at the empty lot, which appears to be a dead end to the trail he hoped would lead him to the missing Professor Sturgeon. What will happen now? Can Superman find the missing atom bomb scientist before an unscrupulous power makes use of Professor Sturgeon's genius for personal gain? The peace of the world may be at stake, so you may be sure Superman won't give up. Don't miss a single episode of this thrilling story. Tune in again tomorrow, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, here's a famous name that brightens up your breakfast. It's Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Kellogg, as in Kellogg shredded wheat. What a treat. Tender, plump biscuits full up with natural nut-sweet flavor and toasted just right for extra crispness. But that's not all. Kellogg shredded wheat biscuits are just the right size, made to fit the bowl. And there are 15 biscuits in every package, each one full of swell whole wheat nourishment. Ask Mom to get you some Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, the strange disappearance of Professor Sturgeon has baffled not only Horatio F. Horn, the amateur detective, but Superman himself, as his latest clue disappears into thin air.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, you're bound to get a 4th of July bang out of this week's Pep Dish of the Week. It's Bang Up Delicious. You tried it yet? It's a peach rocket, you know, a dish that makes your morning appetite take off in a hurry. And here's how easy it is to make a peach rocket. First, line the sides of your breakfast bowl with slices of firm, ripe peaches. Arrange them so that they're pointing up, you know, like skyrockets. Next, pour your serving of Kellogg's Pep in the middle so the peaches stick up above the flakes. Then milk and sugar, and that's all it takes to make a peach rocket, a nifty new way to dress up your morning dish of Kellogg's Pep. Believe me, gang, that sunny golden toasted flavor sure does rise and shine, and Pep is so crisp and tender, your spoon just naturally keeps going right back for more. Why, before you know it, you've finished off every last crunchy flake of Kellogg's Pep in your bowl, which is always the right idea, and particularly right nowadays when we're sending the grains to fellows and girls across the seas. Nobody wants to waste cereal. Remember that when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. Make it a habit to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When Clark Kent and Lois Lane seemed to believe Horatio F. Horn, an obscure Daily Planet local correspondent, amateur detective, and telegrapher, who told what appeared to be a fanciful story of a threat to a famous atom bomb scientist, it was only in an effort to be kind to the eccentric little man from Squeen Run, Ohio, whose feelings had been hurt by the outspoken Editor White. But when, on paying a visit to Professor Alonzo Sturgeon's home, they learned that the famous scientist had been abducted, they knew that Horatio Horn's intercepting and decoding of a message referring to Professor Sturgeon had uncovered a threat to world peace. Leaving Lois and Horn to await the police, Kent slipped away and, as Superman, streaked to a mountain lodge to which the coded message had been addressed. There he found no one but a surly caretaker who told him that the previous occupants had vacated, leaving 96 Walnut Street in Metropolis as a forwarding address. Rocketing back to the city, Superman discovered that the address was false. That 96 Walnut Street is an empty lot. Listen.
An empty lot. Well, either that shifty-eyed caretaker sent me on a fool's errand, or Professor Sturgeon's abductors gave him a phony address. Either way, I've run up against a dead end. Well, there's only one thing to do. Go back to the professor's house and try to pick up the trail again from there. Up! Up! And away!
As Superman speeds back to the home of the missing atom bomb scientist, Lois Lane, furious at the thought that Clark Kent had slipped away in an attempt to score a scoop on her, has persuaded Horatio Horn to accompany her on a trip to Maple Lodge in the Blue Mountains, the address to which the cryptic telegram had been sent. And as we join them now, Lois and Horn in Kent's car are laboriously climbing up and down the winding mountain road, fighting their way through a heavy rainstorm.
Forgive me for mentioning it, Miss Lane, but isn't this a bit risky?
Oh, relax, Mr. Horn. This storm won't last long. Besides, we're not far from Maple Lodge now.
What puzzles me is how you can see the road, let alone know where we are, with your windshield wipers not working.
Well, that is a handicap, I must admit. But I'm managing.
Look, Miss Lane, maybe this is a fool's errand. I mean, maybe Mr. Kent didn't go to Maple Lodge after all.
But you said he asked you the address before he disappeared, didn't you?
Quite true, quite true. But as a graduate detective, an honor graduate, I might add, of the famous Correspondence School Detective Institute, I fail to see how you deduce from that the conviction that Mr. Kent...
If you knew Clark as I do, you'd be just as sure as I am that he slipped away and took a train to the lodge.
But still...
Why, he'd do almost anything to get a scoop on me. But I'm going to outsmart him this time.
Perhaps.
Yes,
but
sir. We'll reach that lodge and get whatever story there is before he even arrives by train.
My dear Miss Lane.
Oh, sorry.
If you're not more careful, we may never even arrive.
Oh, come now, Mr. Horn. You've got to have more confidence in my driving.
Believe me, it isn't so much a matter of confidence as grasshoppers.
Sorry again. I didn't see that curve until we almost ran beyond it.
I don't wonder. The rain's so heavy.
Miss Lane, hadn't we better
For
just...
the last time, Mr. Horn, no. We're not turning back and we're not stopping. Don't you want to track down the men who had abducted Professor Sturgeon?
Of course I do. But as a detective, I feel
I
that
don't
we...
care how you feel. Now, just relax.
At least, don't you think you'd better run in low gear? Or at least in second gear?
No. Why?
Well, this is a rather steep downgrade, and look out, there's a sharp curve at the bottom.
I see it.
Well, look, there's a river around the bend and a bridge.
I know. Now, will you sit back?
Stop. You'll never make the curve.
I can't stop. I'm skidding.
Swing hard, for Pete's sake, swing hard.
Let go of this wheel.
Swing hard, we'll miss the bridge.
Too late. Hang on.
Skidding on loose rocks and dirt, washed onto the narrow mountain road by the heavy rain. Lois Lane and Horatio Horn in Kent's car crashed through a wooden bridge railing and into a swollen stream. At about the same time, Superman, unaware of what has happened to his friends, again resumes the guise and garb of Clark Kent and enters the home of Professor Sturgeon.
Who's that?
It's I, Inspector.
Who?
Clark Kent.
Oh, Kent. Hey, where in the world have you been?
Oh, I've been snooping around. Say, did Lois give you the background on Sturgeon's disappearance?
Yeah, this is bad business, Kent. Professor Sturgeon's one of the top scientists in the country. When it gets out that he's been snatched, the mayor, the governor, and everybody named Joe will be on my neck.
With all respect to your neck, Inspector, the situation is more serious than that. Professor Sturgeon knows all the secrets of the atom bomb. If enemies of our country have him and force the secrets from him, we and all the rest of the world are in terrible danger.
Oh, come now, Kent. Just because one of the abductors had a foreign accent, there's no reason to suspect an international plot.
And I do suspect it, and I'm worried. Look, Inspector, I've got to get up to Maple Lodge, but I want to see Lois first. Where is she, do you know?
Why, she was around here a little while ago, and I saw her drive off. In your car, by the way.
Oh?
Yeah, she didn't say where she was going.
That's strange. What about the man who was with her?
You mean that Horatio F. or French horn character?
Yes.
Yeah, well, he went with her. Hey, just who is that guy?
Oh, he's the local correspondent for the Daily Planet in Squeen Run, Ohio. He intercepted and decoded the message that got us on this story.
So I was told.
Mm-hmm.
Fancies himself quite a detective, doesn't he?
Well, I wouldn't underestimate that little fellow if I were you. I think he's got a lot on the ball.
Well, to me, all amateur detectives are a pain in the neck. Oh, incidentally, there's no use in your going to Maple Lodge, Kent.
Why?
Well, I'll send Healy up there.
Oh, don't waste his time. The so-called Mr. White to whom the code message was addressed at the lodge has skipped.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. But they left a forwarding address in Metropolis.
Is that so? What is it, do you know?
Sure. 96 Walnut Street.
96 Walnut, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Healy, call headquarters and have them send a prowl
No,
car.
wait a minute, Inspector.
Huh?
Don't bother. I've already checked that address.
Well, what'd you find?
An empty lot.
What?
An empty lot. Bounded on one side by a big loft building and on the other side by a one-story warehouse given over to packing and crating.
Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Where'd you say you got that phony address, Kent?
From the caretaker of Maple Lodge.
What? Well, that's 50, 60 miles from here. How in blazes did you...
Well,
I get it. Telephone, huh?
Yes, there's a telephone there.
So the caretaker gave you a phony steer, huh? Then he's the man we want. He must be in on the plot.
Perhaps. Or else he got a phony steer, too. Either way, I'm going to find out. I'll see you later, Inspector.
Oh, wait a minute. I told you I'd send Healy up there. He can...
I'll be there long before Healy.
How will you?
Well, I have my own special way. I'll see you later.
Leaving the house, Clark Kent swiftly resumes his true identity of Superman and streaks to the Blue Mountains. The violent storm, which is now dying away, has felled trees across the narrow mountain roads and swollen streams into raging rivers. A sudden alarming thought crosses Superman's mind, and he slows his rocket-like flight.
Wait a minute. Henderson said Lois and Horn went away in my car. I'll bet they started for Maple Lodge to look for Professor Sturgeon. If they did, they ran into this storm and may be in trouble. I'd better keep my eyes open. Away! No sign of them. Maybe I was wrong. Wait a minute. What's that down there? A bridge smashed. And a wrecked car at the bottom of that stream, completely submerged. Must have skidded into the bridge. Wait a minute. It's my car. Lois was in it. Down to that car. Down! The car's full of water. Lois and Horatio Horn, they're not in it. Great Scott, where are they? What happened to them?
Alarmed, Superman stands at the bottom of the swollen stream, gazing into his wrecked car, empty but for the swirling, muddied water. what has happened to Lois Lane and Horatio Horn. We'll be back in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, I'll bet you've all had one swell 4th of July holiday. Picnics and swimming and ball games, all sorts of excitement. And the day's not over yet. But you know, I wish you'd do something before you pile into bed tonight. I wish you'd take just a minute to think about what a grand and glorious thing the 4th of July really is. What it means. Actually, you know, it means that, well, we're just about the luckiest people in the whole world to live here in the United States, where somebody believed in freedom enough to fight for it back in 1776. And where we still believe in freedom and still fight for it. Yes, sir, America's the best place in the world to live. That's what the 4th of July really means. And don't let any of us ever forget it.
Superman stands puzzled and alarmed by his wrecked car at the bottom of the mountain stream. Lois Lane and Horatio Horn are in a perilous predicament. Stunned when the car crashed through the bridge into the stream, they nevertheless managed to make their way through a window where the surging current, swollen by storm waters, caught them and swept them away like driftwood. Half drowned, they have finally managed to catch on to a floating log. Now, clinging weakly to it, they are carried at breakneck speed into a raging ice-cold mountain torrent, which has swept far beyond its banks and become a tumultuous river.
I don't think I can hold on much longer, Mr. Horn.
You've got to hold on, Miss Lane.
I can't.
If you don't, you'll be drowned.
But my arms, they feel like lead. And this water is so cold. I'm getting numb.
I know. So am I. Try kicking your feet.
I can't. They're like chunks of ice. I'm going to have to let go pretty soon.
No, you can't. I tell you, listen, let's try calling for help. Come on now, we'll call together.
Oh, what's the use? Nobody can hear us over this water, and there's nobody around anyway.
Well, let's try. You never can tell. Come on now. Holla. Help! Help!
Help!
Clinging to the log with fast waning strength, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn raised their voices weakly in cries for help. But over the rushing, relentless sound of the torrential waters, their cries are barely audible, and Superman is several miles away. What will happen to the girl reporter and the little amateur detective? And what will this delay mean to Superman's chances of tracing Professor Sturgeon? Tomorrow's episode is packed with thrills and a startling surprise, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, when you think of famous names, do you think of Kellogg? You know, that's the greatest name in cereals. And Kellogg makes Kellogg shredded wheat, the tender, plump biscuits made just the right size to fit your breakfast bowl. And are they good? Full to the brim with natural nut-sweet flavor. Good for you, too, sure. They're made of nutritious whole wheat. What's more, Kellogg gives you 15 delicious biscuits in every package of Kellogg shredded wheat. Try 'em soon. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, as the search for Professor Sturgeon continues, Horatio F. Horn, amateur detective, has run into trouble. Trouble that may mean his life and that of the girl reporter, Lois Lane.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, strictly off the record, how many breakfasts would you guess are started off by Kellogg's Pep every morning? Well, you know, I went on the record with a big guess the other day, and I missed it by a mile. Of course, I'm not really surprised that Pep is such a winner. It makes such a slick dish for breakfast, how could anybody resist it? Why, just the looks of a bowl of sunny, golden toasted Kellogg's Pep makes your appetite sit up and take notice right away. And what that sparkling sunshine flavor does for your taste gives you the old come on all right. Pep's Tender Christmas has a way with your appetite, too. Every crunchy flake seems to melt in your mouth. Yes, sir, Kellogg's Pep is so good, you'll keep right on eating until you've polished off every bit in your bowl. And that's keeping on the beam gang, because the cereal grains have been picked out to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls all over the world. Think of that when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. Don't waste it. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. Pass the word along to the rest of your family, too. Remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When Horatio F. Horn, part-time telegrapher, part-time amateur detective, and part-time correspondent for the Daily Planet in an Ohio village, decoded a telegram which he said indicated danger to Professor John Sturgeon, famous expert on atomic power, he hot-footed it to Metropolis. That same day, Professor Sturgeon was abducted by 3 mysterious foreign-speaking men. As Superman, Clark Kent streaked to a lodge in the mountains where the telegram had been addressed, but failed to find the professor. Meanwhile, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn had also left for the lodge by car. Battling a violent storm en route, their car skidded on a narrow mountain road and plunged into a swollen mountain stream. As we continue now, Superman is searching for Lois and Horatio, who, having made their way out of the submerged car, are clinging desperately to a slippery log and are being swept by the current at breakneck speed into a wider, icy cold mountain torrent. Listen.
This water is cold. Are you all right, Miss Lane?
I'm getting numb. And this log is so slippery. I don't think I can hang on much longer.
Now, you've got to hang on. You've just got to, you know. Look at me. I'm hanging on. Oh.
Mr. Horn! Mr. Horn, where are you?
Here I am, Miss Lane.
Oh, thank heaven. I thought you were gone.
Oh, it's not so easy to lose Horatio F. Horn. I say this log is slippery. Worse than a greased pig, by Gulliver.
What are we going to do? I can't hang on much longer. My hands and feet are like blocks of ice.
But try to keep up your courage, young lady. There's a bend up ahead. If we work our way closer to shore, we might... Oh, my goodness.
Now what?
The foam.
The what?
Well, don't you see the foam on the water? Don't you notice how much faster the current is? Well, that means...
It means what?
Look for yourself. You can see around the bend now.
Good heavens. There's a sharp rock sticking out of the water and...
Yes.
And that...
Yes, it falls. We're going to be swept over it. Quick, let go of the log and swim. Swim for the shore.
The current's too strong. I can't swim against it.
You've got to. If we're carried over that rocky falls, it'll be the end of us. Swim, Miss Lane.
It's no use. I can't.
There, I've got you. Now, hang onto my shoulder.
No, we'll both drown. You just try to save yourself, Mr. Horn.
And leave a lady in distress. No Horn would think of such a thing. Oh, I say this current is powerful. Can't make much headway.
Let me go, I tell you. No. Save yourself.
It's too late now. We're going over the fall.
Relax, Miss Lane. You too, Mr. Horn. Everything's under control.
Oh,
Superman!
No, by Gulliver, we stopped moving.
Under this arm with you, Miss Lane. You under this arm, Mr. Horn.
Superman, I can't believe it. I thought it was the end.
So did I. I say, my good fellow, are you really Superman?
Here's where you find out. Up and away!
Why, we're flying. We really are. I say you are Superman.
At your service. I noticed a farmhouse around here before. You two need some dry clothing in a hurry and something hot to drink.
An excellent idea, by Gulliver.
We haven't time for that, Superman. Look, Professor Sturgeon, the atom bomb scientist, was abducted. We think some foreign agents took him to a mountain lodge near here. You'll take us there.
I'll do everything I can to find the professor. I'll take you to the farmhouse and go on to the lodge. Down! Down!
Leaving Lois Lane and Horatio Horn at the farmhouse, Superman streaks to Maple Lodge, which he now finds completely deserted. Carefully, he searches the low, rambling building and then the surrounding woods and countryside. Finally, he is about to give up and return to Metropolis when he sees an ancient car chugging up to the lodge door. Swiftly resuming the guise and garb of Clark Kent, he walks around the house to greet Lois and Horatio Horn as they step from the car.
Oh, Lois, Mr. Horn, what are you doing up
Clark Kent, so you did come up here.
Well, yes, of course. You see,
I see, all right. You left me to wait for Inspector Henderson while you rushed up here to scoop me on the
I
story.
wasn't thinking of the story. I was thinking of Professor Sturgeon. I could get up here much faster alone.
Let's not quarrel, young people. Quarreling disturbs the clear process of reason. And as the president of my alma mater, the famous correspondence school
Please,
detective
never mind
institute
your
says...
alma mater now, Mr. Horn. Let's hear from this other great detective, Mr. Kent. What did you find up here, Clark? Except mosquitoes, I mean.
Well, practically nothing, Lois.
I thought so. Who lives in the lodge?
Nobody at the moment.
But I say someone must live here. This is where the telegram was addressed. You know, the one I decoded. It said, airship, big fish, atom.
There's nobody here now, though. Even the caretaker disappeared.
What caretaker?
The one I spoke to when I was here before. Frank, his name was. He was apparently in on the plot because he sent me off on a wild goose chase.
Minute,
I
Clark.
would have caught up with him, though, if I hadn't had to go
Just
looking.
a minute, I said. How could you have been here before?
What do you mean?
Why, you've hardly had time to get up here from Metropolis.
Why?
And you couldn't have been looking for us. You deserted us in Metropolis.
No,
And it's only due to a miracle, or to Superman, to be exact, that
Now,
we're
look-
alive. Come to think of it, where is he?
Never
He said
mind
he was-
about Superman or how or why I got here. We haven't a moment to wait. So if you want me to tell you what happened, you'll have to stop interrupting.
Well, really? This all sounds fishy to me, and
Now,
I don't
look,
like your
Lois,
high-handed manner, Mr.
He's
Kent.
quite upset by this terrible affair, Miss Lane, and so are we. The thing to do is to sit down quietly, talk this over.
Oh,
Harmony brings about a meeting of the minds. As the president of my alma mater, the famous correspondence school detective institute says...
Please,
I
spare
think
me,
we ought
Mr.
to...
Horn.
Me too,
Spare me.
Mr.
Go
Horn.
on, Clark. You and I will settle this later. Tell me about the caretaker.
Well, I said I think he was in on the plot because when I questioned him about the big fish telegram, he looked definitely startled.
He did?
Then he admitted the lodge had been rented to someone for the summer. Someone who had moved out very suddenly this morning.
When Professor Sturgeon was abducted.
Right. He said I could find the man at 96 Walnut Street in Metropolis.
He did?
Yes.
Well,
but
why didn't you say so before?
Now,
what
wait
are
a
we standing around here for? Let's get
Yes,
started.
indeed.
If
Come
you'll
on,
just let me
Mr.
get a word.
Explain.
Wait a minute. Just a moment. Let me finish, will you? Caretaker gave me a wrong steer.
What do you mean, Clark?
I mean, there is no 96 Walnut Street.
What?
There's a vacant lot where number 96 Walnut Street should be.
What's that? A vacant lot, you say?
Yes.
How do you know?
I happen to know that part of Walnut Street.
Well, then,
We're up a tree here, Mr. Kent.
Right, and I don't know where to go from here. Wait a minute. What's that?
what?
I don't see anything.
What?
Oh, I hear a telephone. In the lodge. Come on, maybe someone's calling the man who lived here. Hello, this is Maple Lodge.
Clark Kent there, please.
What?
Inspector Henderson of the Metropolis Police Department.
Oh,
calling.
hello, Inspector. This is Kent speaking.
Henderson?
Yes, just a minute, Lord.
Did you find anything up there?
Not a thing except Miss Lane and Horatio Horn. How about you?
I found something.
You did? What's that?
Well, I don't want to speak about it on the phone. How soon can you get back to Metropolis?
Oh, a minute or two.
Good. A minute or two? Hey, who do you think you are, Superman?
Could be. I'll be there as soon as possible, Inspector.
Step on it, Kent. This is important.
We'll be back in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, this week's Pep Dish of the Week is practically out of this world, the way it sends your breakfast appetite skyrocketing. Hey, did I say skyrocket? Well, that's it. Sure, this week's Pep Dish of the Week is a peach rocket, as neat a dish as you'd ever hope to taste. Here's how it goes. You take firm, ripe slices of fresh peaches and line the sides of your bowl with them, so they're pointing up like rockets. Then pour on your serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, and see how the tips of the peaches show up at the top. Add milk and sugar, and there's your peach rocket. Talk about delicious. And Kellogg's Pep is a winner no matter how you serve it. Crisp and tender for one thing. Each crunchy flake practically melts in your mouth. And Pep is the whole wheat flake cereal with that sparkling sunshine flavor. A comeback for more flavor that tickles your taste until you've eaten up every bit in your bowl. It's especially important nowadays not to waste cereal, because we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls overseas. So, gang, when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, don't waste it. Pour it out carefully and finish off every bit you pour out. Get hep to Pep, gang. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Leaving Lois Lane and Horatio Horn to return to Metropolis in their borrowed car, Clark Kent slipped away, resumed his true identity as Superman, and rocketed back to Metropolis. As we join him now, he is in the office of Police Inspector Henderson, examining a finely engraved gold medal.
Here's a magnifying glass, Kent. I want you to read the inscription on that medal.
I can read it without the glass, Inspector. It says, presented to Alonzo A. Sturgeon in admiration by the International Scientific Society.
Uh-huh.
Well, what about it?
Remember what Sturgeon's butler said about the three men who took the professor away?
Yes, of course. He said they gave Sturgeon some story about wanting him to accept a medal from their society. Hey, wait a minute. You mean...
Exactly, Kent. They said they were from the International Scientific Society. This was the medal they were giving to the professor.
Oh.
They wanted him to come to a banquet or something and accept it formally.
Uh-huh.
The professor didn't want to go, so they took him forcibly.
Well, now, wait a minute. How do you know they said the International Scientific Society?
Well, the butler said so.
Well, he told me he couldn't remember the name of the society.
He remembered the name when we found this medal on the lawn.
Oh, I see. Well, look, what is this society?
As soon as I find that out, I'll find the professor.
As soon as... You mean it isn't listed?
I can't find any trace of it in Metropolis. Must have a foreign headquarters. Healy's checking on it now with Dr. McCrae at the university. Just a minute. That may be Healy now. Hello? Oh, yes, Healy. What did you find out about that society? What? You're sure? Well, how do you like that? Okay. So long.
What is it, Inspector?
That was Healy. Calling from Dr. McCrae's office at the university, Kent.
Yes?
McCrae says there is no International Scientific Society anywhere in the world.
Startled, Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson stare at each other, realizing that their only clue to Professor Sturgeon has turned out to be no clue at all. What will happen now? A small group of power-mad men possessed of the atom bomb's secret can threaten the world as it has never been threatened before. And even Superman may be unable to prevent the catastrophe in time. Monday's episode is tense and exciting, gang, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. You know, gang, famous names make history. And Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals, has made history with good breakfast eating for a long time. For example, Kellogg shredded wheat, so crisp, so toasty, so delicious. Tender, plump biscuits, 15 of them to a package. That's 15 biscuits crammed with their own natural nut-sweet flavor and made just the right size to fit the bowl. And remember, this is whole wheat, so it's good for you, too. Ask Mom for Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. C-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, with Professor Alonzo Sturgeon still missing, Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson are more puzzled than ever as to the identity of his strange visitors, who are apparently his captors.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, do you know what's a gold mine of good eating? A dish of sunny, golden toasted Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir. Breakfast sure does glitter and sparkle when Pep heads the menu. Tickles your appetite like anything. You see, Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. Every tender whole wheat flake is sunny and golden to look at, good as gold to taste, and crisp, practically melts in your mouth. Just try it for yourself tomorrow morning. Take one look at that bowl of Kellogg's Pep and see if your appetite doesn't wake up smiling. Take one spoonful of those delicate, crunchy flakes and get a load of that sparkling sunshine flavor and see if it isn't a slick treat. Take another taste and see if Kellogg's Pep doesn't make you want to keep right on until you've polished your bowl clean as a whistle. And remember, that's one way to keep from wasting cereal. Another way is to handle the package carefully if you pour your own Pep. Keep that in mind when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, because the cereal grains are being sent to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls overseas. Tip off the rest of your family, too. Get Hep to Pep, gang. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Now, the adventures of Superman. When Horatio Horn, part-time telegrapher, amateur detective, and rural correspondent for the Daily Planet, decoded a telegram which read, "Airship, Big Fish, Atom," he leaped to the conclusion that Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, world-famous atom bomb scientist, was in danger. Horn hurried to Metropolis, where he, Clark Kent, and Lois Lane discovered that Professor Sturgeon had been abducted. While Kent, as Superman, streaked to the mountains to investigate a deserted lodge to which the telegram had been addressed, Police Inspector Henderson uncovered a medal on Sturgeon's lawn. It was engraved with the name of the International Scientific Society, which Sturgeon's butler identified as the name used by the abductors. At once, Henderson attempted to trace the society. But as we continue now, he has just received a startling telephone call. Replacing the receiver, he turns to Clark Kent.
There is no International Scientific Society.
What?
You heard me. There's no organization of that name anywhere in the world.
Uh-oh. Sturgeon's abductors used a phony society name to try to lure the professor away quietly. When he didn't fall for it, they took him by force.
Right. And that leaves us up a blind alley. We haven't a single clue to those fellows now.
Except that one of them was called Carlos, and he and the other spoke with a foreign accent.
Yeah, a lot of help that is.
Yeah, I'm afraid...
What?
I'm afraid Professor Sturgeon was abducted by agents of a foreign power to get the secret of the atom bomb.
Now, wait a minute. Wait, don't go off half-cocked.
Look, we've got to find Professor Sturgeon, Inspector, and fast.
We're doing everything we can to find him, Kent. I've got every available man working on the case. Also, the FBI and the Army G2 are in on it. But I haven't a single lead.
Oh, yes, we have.
Name it.
That lodge in the Blue Mountains where the big fish telegram was sent.
Yeah, but the gang skipped out without leaving a trace. Except that phony forwarding address on Walnut Street. Which turned out to be a vacant lot.
What about the owner of the lodge?
Well, what about him?
The caretaker told me the occupants of the lodge had rented it. They could only have rented it from the owner or his agent. If we find out who that is...
Now you're using your head, Kent. Come on. We'll shoot over to the county record office and get the name of the lodge owner.
Well, these are the Nashville corporate records, Inspector. Now, let's see. Madison Farms, Manchester Hunt Club. There we are. Maple Lodge.
Who's the owner?
He'll be right here. Yeah. Owner's Richard C. Garrett of Metropolis.
What address in Metropolis?
Garrett and Bailey Investment Company, 120 Grove Street.
120 Grove Street?
Yeah.
Much obliged. Come on, Kent. We'll get right over there.
I'm sorry Mr. Garrett isn't here, Inspector. I'm Mr. Bailey, his business partner. Is there anything I can do for you?
Do you know about that lodge of his in the Blue Mountains?
Maple Lodge?
Yeah.
Why, yes, I've been there often for the fishing. What about it?
Do you happen to know to whom he rented it?
Why, no, I don't, Mr. Kent. Mr. Garrett took care of that himself.
Then we'll have to see Garrett.
I'm afraid that won't be possible for some time, Inspector.
Why not?
He left for Shanghai last week.
Shanghai?
Shanghai, China.
Yes, we have some investments there. Now that the war's over, Mr. Garrett went out to see about them.
Well, where is Mr. Garrett staying in Shanghai, Miss Bailey?
At the Occidental Hotel.
Thank you. I'll see you later, Inspector.
Wait a minute. Where are you going, Kent?
Places. Be seeing you.
Hurrying out of the office, Clark Kent steps into a stair hall, swiftly strips off his business suit, and stands revealed in the blue costume and red cape of Superman. He raises the window.
Out! Up! And away!
Leaping high into the twilight sky, the Man of Steel swerves and rockets off into the west. Like a flashing meteor, he streaks across the country and heads out over the vast Pacific Ocean, bound for Shanghai, China. It is daylight when he lands there, but back in Metropolis, night has fallen. As Lois Lane and Horatio Horn stand before a board fence on deserted Walnut Street in the warehouse district.
That warehouse to the left is number 94, Miss Lane, so this empty lot is where number 96 would be.
Well, there goes that little dream. I thought Clark might be holding out on me, hoping to scoop the story for himself.
You're very suspicious, Miss Lane.
No, just careful. Well, we've wasted this much time. We might as well waste a little more. Come on, Mr. Horn. Here's the gate.
Wait. Wait, you're not going into the lot, are you?
Why, certainly. This is the address the caretaker at Maple Lodge gave Mr. Kent, isn't it?
But it was a false address. It's only an empty lot.
Not quite empty. There seem to be a few trucks around. I want to have a look at them.
Oh, why would you be interested in those old trucks? They look like junk to me.
Oh, maybe they're not all junk. You seem to have forgotten that Professor Sturgeon was taken away in a truck.
Aye, so he was. By Gulliver,
What's the matter?
I stumbled over a box and barked my shin.
Oh.
I think we can use some light.
Unfortunately, empty lots are not equipped with electricity.
I'm a detective, Miss Lane. I always carry a flashlight with me.
Why, how wonderful.
Yep, it's part of the kit I received when I enrolled in the famous Correspondence School Detective Institute. Let's see, where is it? Here's my combination knife, my handcuffs. Oh, jumping grasshoppers, I forgot it.
Some detective.
Not licked, though, by Gulliver. First rule of a detective, always be resourceful. There. Nothing wrong with my cigarette lighter, is there, Miss Lane?
Not a thing. Hold it up to this truck, will you?
Right.
They didn't take Professor Sturgeon away in this one. It has no front wheels. Bring your lighter over to this one, will you, Mr. Horn?
No use, Miss Lane. I can see from here, hood's off, the engine's gone. This must be a junkyard.
I guess so. This truck here has no engine either. Well, I guess we've scored a great big goose egg in this inning, Mr. Horn.
Don't be discouraged, Miss Lane. First rule of a good detective is...
Never say die, I know.
Exactly. It's always darkest before the dawn, you know.
And every cloud has a silver lining.
Exactly.
Oh, stop it or I'll scream. What a day. Professor Sturgeon disappears. We fall into a mountain stream and almost get drowned. We make this long trip for nothing, and now you spout proverbs.
I'm sorry, Miss Lane, but...
All right. Now let's get out of here.
Yeah, this way. I'll hold the lighter up. I say, what's that?
What?
These tire tracks on the ground. See them?
What about them?
Junk trucks don't make tire tracks, you know. And these are fresh ones. See? The ground is still damp from the rain this afternoon. Let's see where these tracks go.
Well, they probably go right out of the lot through the gate.
Oh, no. The tracks go right up to the warehouse here and disappear.
Now, listen, did it occur to you that the car might have backed up here, turned around,
but it didn't turn around. Look for yourself. The tracks go smack into the brick wall.
Well, so they do. Gee, that's funny, isn't it? How could the wheels of the car get right up to the wall? The bumpers would stop it.
Of course they would. There's only one answer.
I'm listening.
The car or truck went right through the wall.
Mr. Horn, you get more brilliant by the minute. I suppose a crew of bricklayers was standing by to build a new wall as soon as the car smashed through.
That hardly seems likely, does it?
Hardly.
And there's only one other answer.
Well, I hope this one's better. What's that?
You'd only laugh at me, so I'll test my theory before explaining it to you.
Trying to push the wall down, Mr. Horn?
No, Look, Miss Lane.
The wall is opening.
Exactly. There's a trick panel.
But why?
I don't know why yet, but I'm going to find out, by Gulliver. This may be the answer to Professor Sturgeon's disappearance.
Now, wait a minute.
The caretaker must have meant 94 Walnut Street. That's this warehouse. I'm going in.
It's awfully dark in there.
You needn't be afraid with me by your side.
I feel safer with a couple of brawny policemen. Maybe we'd better call headquarters.
I'm not going to waste any time. Unless we find Professor Sturgeon at once, the whole world may be endangered. You can wait out here if you like.
Oh, no. If you're not afraid, neither am I. Lead on, Macduff.
Horatio F. Horn is the name. Come on, Miss Lane, but be as quiet as you can.
Drawing a deep breath, Lois Lane steps into the pitch-black warehouse behind Horatio F. Horn, the amateur detective. What will they discover? We'll be back in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, get a load of this. Here's the lowdown on a brand new pep dish of the week. A breakfast combination that's loaded with what it takes to make your appetite wake up in a hurry. You ready? Here goes. This week's new pep dish of the week is a cantaloupe pinwheel. features Kellogg's Pep the Sunshine cereal with sweet ripe cantaloupe. And here's how to make your cantaloupe pinwheel. Start off with your regular serving of Pep. Then take your spoon and scoop the cantaloupe out in strips. Arrange them on top of your Pep like the spokes of a wheel. Add milk and sugar, and that's it, a cantaloupe pinwheel. And if you don't think Kellogg's Pep can do things for cantaloupe, you just try it. Why, Pep's fine sunshine flavor fairly sparkles on your tongue. Pep's tender crispness practically melts in your mouth. Pep is so terrific, your spoon keeps going right back until you've scooped up the very last golden flake in your bowl, which is a particularly good idea nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls overseas. Nobody wants to waste cereal. Think of that when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully, and always make sure to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Finding a sliding panel in an outside wall, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn stepped into a dark warehouse. The flickering flame of Horn's cigarette lighter faintly illuminated stacks of crates and boxes. They were moving gingerly among them when...
Drat it.
What's the matter? What happened to your lighter?
Fluid's all gone, I guess.
Now what are we going to do? This place is pitch dark.
Let me give you a light, lady.
Who said that? Stone.
3 men with guns.
Yeah, loaded guns. And don't move or they'll go off.
Frozen in their tracks, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn stare at 3 men who point menacing guns in their direction. What trap have the girl reporter and the amateur detective stepped into, while Superman, unaware of their danger, is in far-off China? Is this the hideout of the mysterious men who abducted Professor Sturgeon? Who are they? And what will happen to Lois and Horatio Horn? Tomorrow's episode is packed with thrills and excitement, fellows and girls, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. You know, gang, you never forget a famous name. Like Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Kellogg brightens up breakfast with Kellogg shredded wheat. 15 crisp, tender biscuits in every package. There's loads of natural nut-sweet flavor in toasty Kellogg shredded wheat. Loads of fine nutrition, too. It's whole wheat. And these plump, delicious biscuits are just the right size, made to fit the bowl. Try them soon. Ask Mom for Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, as Superman rockets toward China in an effort to track down the captors of Professor Sturgeon, Lois Lane and the amateur detective Horatio Horn have walked straight into a dangerous trap.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, I think the Kellogg Company must have been thinking of that grand fun you have at the circus when they dreamed up this week's Pep Dish of the Week. It's a cantaloupe pinwheel, you know. Makes breakfast a circus of fun. And here's how it goes. You start off with your regular serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Then, with your spoon, scoop out strips of golden ripe cantaloupe. Arrange them on top of your Pep like the spokes of a wheel. Add milk and sugar, and see how that cantaloupe pinwheel gives your appetite a whirl. Mm-mm. And you know, Kellogg's Pep makes a terrific dish no matter how you serve it. Always crisp and tender, for one thing. Delicate as a breeze. And does that sparkling sunshine flavor rise and shine? No kidding, gang. The spoon that comes up with sunny golden toasted flakes of Kellogg's Pep is bound to go right back for more until you've eaten up every bit in your bowl. And a good thing that is, especially nowadays when the cereal grains are being sent to fellows and girls overseas. So when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, appoint yourself a committee of one to help guard against waste. Pour out your Pep very carefully, and always make sure to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Now, the adventures of Superman.
Shortly after Horatio Horn, rural correspondent for the Daily Planet, decoded a telegram which read, Airship, Big Fish, Atom. Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, world-famous atom bomb scientist, was abducted by unknown men. Investigating the telegram, which was addressed to a nearby mountain lodge, Clark Kent found only a caretaker who said the occupants of the lodge had departed that morning, leaving a forwarding address in Metropolis. This turned out to be a vacant lot. Hoping to trace the abductors through the owner of the lodge who had gone to Shanghai on business, Kent, as Superman, streaked to China to have a talk with him. Meanwhile, investigating the vacant lot, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn discovered a sliding panel in the wall of the warehouse next door. Entering in the darkness, they were feeling their way between boxes and crates when suddenly the lights went on. 3 men, each armed with a gun, faced them menacingly. The leader, a tall, swarthy man with a livid scar across the bridge of his hawk's nose, is speaking. Listen.
The senor and senorita were clever to discover the secret door in the wall. But being too clever is often dangerous.
What do you mean? Why are you pointing those guns at us?
Turn them away. One of them might go off by Gulliver.
All 3 guns will go off.
No.
Unless you answer my questions truthfully. Senor Kent.
Huh? Kent? Is he here?
Quiet, Mr. Horn.
But my dear...
What is this you say? Frank, is this not the senor who came to the lodge in the mountains this morning?
I never seen this guy before.
Then who is he? Who is the senorita? Answer me. Who are you?
I am Horatio F. for French Horn. And this is...
Will you be
Miss
quiet?
Lois
Quiet!
Lane. We're both reporters for the Metropolis Daily Planet.
Mr. Horn.
Reporter.
Yes, I'm the local correspondent for the Daily Planet in Squeen Run, Ohio. And now, sir, perhaps you will tell me who...
The Senor Kent. You did not say he too was a reporter, Frank?
That's right. For the same paper.
So, then this begins to make sense. Instead of Senor Kent coming here to investigate the address you gave him, he sent these 2, huh?
He didn't do any such thing.
Quite true. We came of our own volition.
You lie. First, Senor Kent sent the police. We heard them and closed the door in the wall which we had left open for him. The police found nothing. So the Senor Kent sent you 2 in order to investigate further.
No,
that's
that's
the way
not...
it must have been, Carlos.
Carlos. Is your name Carlos?
Si, senorita. You've heard my name before?
No, that is...
Do not distress yourself, senorita. It was quite obvious as soon as I learned you were reporters for the Daily Planet that you were investigating the disappearance of Professor Sturgeon.
You bet we are. Where is he? What have you done with
It is I who will ask the questions, little man, and you who will answer them.
Nothing doing, by Gulliver. You scoundrels are going to tell us what you did with Professor Sturgeon, or by George,
You will what, senor?
Take that gun out of my ribs.
You will answer my questions, and quickly, or else I shall pull the trigger.
Did you hear that, Miss Lane?
Yes, and I say it's just a lot of melodramatic nonsense. If you're trying to scare me, you're wasting your breath, Carlos.
We shall see. Now, senor.
Please, stop pushing that gun into my ribs. I'm sensitive.
Then speak. How did Senor Kent know of the mountain lodge and of the big fish?
Don't tell him anything, Mr. Horn.
Well,
I will count to 3. If when I have finished counting, you still remain stubborn, I shall pull the trigger, and then it will be Senorita Lane's turn. Now, I begin. 1.
Miss Lane.
He's just bluffing.
2.
Maybe he isn't bluffing, Miss Lane.
Of course he is.
Stop. I'll tell you.
See, I thought you would.
Mr. Horn, please don't talk.
Please don't consider me cowardly, Miss Lane, but as the president of my alma mater, the famous Correspondence School for Detectives Institute says, a dead detective is rarely of any use on a case.
There are some live detectives I could say the same thing about.
Enough of this. I have no time to waste. Tell me what you know. Quickly.
Well, I decoded a telegram when it went through my telegraph office in Squeen Run.
Your telegraph office? I thought you said you were a reporter.
A local correspondent, to be more accurate. I am also the local telegrapher in Squeen Run. Also,
I see. Continue.
Well, I saw the telegram. It was in code. But I had little difficulty decoding it when I applied the rules that I'd learned in my detective school correspondence course. And there it was, simple as ABC.
This guy's either a nut or a liar, Carlos.
I think he speaks the truth. Go on, senor. You told Senor Kent of this, and he went to the mountain lodge. Because the telegram had been sent there, right?
That is correct. And now, perhaps you will tell me who you are and what you've done with the professor.
Are you kidding?
You have told me everything, senor?
He told you too much.
I was helpless, Miss Lane, at gunpoint. And as the president of my alma mater says...
Silence. Fortunately, since we caught these two in time, this is not too serious, Frank.
I don't know. You can catch that guy Kent.
We need have no fear of Kent. The police will report to him that 96 Walnut Street is only a vacant lot.
But when he misses Horn and Miss Lane, he'll come snooping back with the cops.
By that time, we shall be gone. The telegram I wait for should arrive at any moment.
What's that?
The telephone, stupid one. Answer it.
Oh, okay.
You will make no sound while the telephone is off the hook, Senorita Lane. Or you, Senor Horn.
Please stop poking me with that revolver.
Hello. Yeah, this is the Walnut Street Box Company. Oh, the Telegraph Company. Sure, I'll take it over the phone. The telegram for us, Thomas.
Good. It may be the one we wait for.
From New Orleans.
Good.
9:40. Taking off in 10 minutes. Big fish in fine condition. Signed Max. Yeah, I got it. That's a flag.
Go on. Did you hear that?
Yes, by Gulliver, I certainly did. That can only
Silence.
mean...
Listen, Carlos, it was from Max in New Orleans. He said...
I heard you repeat the message. This is good. Excellent. Now we have nothing to worry about. We can leave at once, and in a short
Wait a
time...
minute. What about these two here, Miss Lane and the screwball?
We must take care of them first, of course.
Just leaving them to me.
Wait, Frank. If they are found here shot, no, that would not do. The police must not become suspicious of this place until we are far away. Let me think. I have it. An accident.
What do you mean, an accident?
I will show you. First, escort these two into the storeroom and lock the door. Hurry.
Now, look here.
All right, come on, move.
You take your hands off
You
me.
can't do this to us.
Now, well, I'm doing it. Go on.
Hurry. Lock them in the storeroom. Meanwhile, I shall arrange the little accident.
At the point of a gun, the conspirators forced the bewildered Horatio Horn and Lois Lane into the storeroom of a warehouse. As the madman Carlos plots an accident. What will happen now? We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, you want to play finders keepers with a hearty sort of breakfast you need to help start your day in high? Well, just fix it with Mom, so you find a bowl of sunny golden toasted Kellogg's Pep at your place, and you'll keep right on eating, believe me. Why, who can resist those tender whole wheat flakes, all toasted crisp and golden? And who wants to resist Pep's sparkling sunshine flavor? Kellogg's Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal, you know. Helps old man son make breakfast mighty cheerful. And is it good for you? Mom will tell you that Pep gives you solid whole wheat nourishment plus. So it all adds up to good reasons why you'll want to finish off every last bit of Pep in your bowl. And, gang, here's another angle. Nowadays, we're sending the cereal grains to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls all over the world. Think of that when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. And don't waste it. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. And keep an eye on your younger brothers and sisters, too. It's so easy, gang, and so important. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
As the mysterious Carlos is arranging what he called an accident, threw away with Lois Lane and Horatio Horn in the Walnut Street warehouse, Superman in his guise of Clark Kent is on the other side of the world. At the Occidental Hotel in Shanghai, China, we find him talking with Richard Garrett, owner of the mountain lodge near Metropolis, to which the mysterious Big Fish telegram had been sent.
Say you rented your mountain lodge to a man named Carlos, Mr. Garrett?
Well, that's right, Mr. Kent. A very charming, apparently well-to-do Latin American. I met him on a plane a couple of months ago, and I was returning to Metropolis from a business trip in South America.
I see. Well, what do you know about him, apart from the fact that he's charming and well-to-do?
Why, come to think of it, very little.
Uh-oh, that's too bad.
He said he had to be near Metropolis on business during the summer and was worried about lodgings, since he understood we have a serious housing shortage.
Yes.
Well, when I mentioned that I had a fishing lodge a couple of hours from town and I intended to be in Shanghai for the summer, he snapped me up on it, asked me what rent I wanted, and paid me in full right then and there.
What bank was his check drawn on? Do you remember that?
Well, he didn't pay me by check.
Oh?
He had a huge roll of American bills with him, and he paid me in cash.
Uh-oh. And you didn't find out anything about him, where his home is, what his business is, anything?
No, I didn't, Mr. Kent. Come to think of it, he kept me talking most of the time. He only spoke in generalities about himself.
I see. Well, the only thing to do, then, is to get back to Metropolis and try to trace him through his airplane ticket. Well, thanks very much, Mr. Garrett. Goodbye.
Stymied once more in his attempt to trace the elusive Carlos, Clark Kent secretly resumes his true identity of Superman and streaks back across the vast Pacific Ocean, bound for Metropolis. But meanwhile, in the locked windowless storeroom of the Walnut Street warehouse, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn are in serious danger.
Mr. Horn. Mr. Horn. The warehouse is on fire.
So it is, by Gulliver. We've got to get out. Come on.
We can't get out through the door. They locked it before they set the warehouse on fire.
Who set it on fire?
Carlos and his men did. Just get rid of it.
Great grasshoppers. This is the accident the scout spoke of.
Yes. Oh, the smoke. I can hardly see. What are we going to do?
Oh, I don't know. Gulliver, I can't watch this door. There don't seem to be any windows.
No. Look, Mr. Horn. That wall is on fire. We're trapped. We haven't got a chance.
Horrified, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn are forced to stand helplessly in the locked, smoke-filled room as the fire rages all around them. How can Lois and the little amateur detective escape the inferno of fire? Are they and the final clue to the whereabouts of Professor Sturgeon, which only they know, forever lost? Superman makes things happen fast and furiously tomorrow, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Hey, gang, here's a winner in your list of famous names. It's Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Kellogg, as in Kellogg shredded wheat. What a treat for breakfast. Plump, tender biscuits of whole wheat, toasted just right, full of natural nut-sweet flavor. And are they crisp? And here's what else you get in Kellogg shredded wheat. Grand whole wheat nutrition. Biscuits made to fit the bowl. And 15 biscuits in every package. Tell Mom you'd like Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, with Superman far out at sea, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn seem doomed as a raging fire sweeps in fury through the ancient building that has become their prison.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, once you find out how Kellogg's Pep stacks up with your morning appetite, you'll latch onto this sunny golden toasted breakfast cereal like anything. Just show me a fellow or girl who doesn't get a kick out of Pep's tender crispness, the way those toasty flakes practically melt in your mouth. And talk about flavor. Why, Kellogg's Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's loaded with sparkling sunshine flavor, a comeback for more flavor that keeps your spoon coming right back again and again. Not to mention the fact that Pep is good for you. Sure, gives you lots of whole wheat nourishment and more. Yes, sir, Kellogg's Pep is a slick dish to latch onto. So terrifically good, you want to clean up every golden flake in your bowl. That's always the smart thing to do, of course. And particularly smart nowadays when the cereal grains are being sent to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls overseas. So don't waste cereal. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, make sure there's no waste at your house. And pour your Pep carefully and eat up all you pour out. Pass the word along to the rest of your family, too. Remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, famous atom bomb scientist, was abducted by mysterious foreign-speaking men, Clark Kent feared an attempt by some unfriendly nation to upset world peace. As Superman, he streaked to Shanghai, China, to investigate a clue, while Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, eccentric rural correspondent for the Daily Planet, investigated another clue at 96 Walnut Street in Metropolis, which turned out to be a vacant lot. But Horn discovered a secret panel in the wall of a warehouse next door, and entering in the dark with Lois, stepped into a trap. 3 armed men, one of them a swarthy Latin named Carlos, locked the reporters in a windowless storeroom and set the warehouse on fire. As we continue now, the walls of their fiery prison are glowing red, and dense smoke is fast overcoming Lois and Horatio Horn. Listen.
I can hardly breathe.
Well, lie on the floor, Miss Lane. The air stays clear there longest.
It is a little better on floor, but not much. Oh, God, hasn't the fire department come?
Perhaps they'll be here soon. Now, if we can only hold out. Oh,
what was that?
It sounded like a wall falling down.
Good heavens.
Oh, this warehouse is a tinderbox. I suspect Carlos spread gasoline around.
He did. I heard him. Mr. Horn, look.
What
the
is
ceiling.
it?
Now, it's on fire, too.
Oh, great grasshopper. When it's
And
all...
the sidewalls of this room. Just look at the flames.
I'm afraid we're what might be termed cooked geese, Miss Lane.
Wait a minute. I think I hear the fire department. Yes, Mr. Horn. It is the fire department.
I'm afraid they're too late.
Don't say that.
We have to face it. They'll never get us out of here in time.
Why?
Because they don't even know we're in here. This is the end, Miss Lane.
Hardly able to breathe, unable to call out, Lois and Horatio Horn face destruction in a roaring holocaust as Superman, still unaware of their plight, rockets back to Metropolis from Shanghai, China. Resuming the guise and garb of Clark Kent, he proceeds to the office of Police Inspector Henderson, where he makes a report of his findings.
Now, wait a minute, Kent. What? I've been trying to put a phone call through to Mr. Garrett in Shanghai for almost 2 hours. How did you get through to him?
Oh, never mind how, but I got through to him. And get this, Inspector.
What?
Garrett said he rented his mountain lodge to a Latin American named Carlos about a month ago.
He did, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Say, isn't one of Professor Sturgeon's abductors a Latin American named Carlos?
Exactly. And
wait. What did Garrett tell you about Carlos? Where's he from? What's his business?
Garrett didn't know.
How do you like that? Now, where are we?
Well, for one thing, I'm surer than ever now that Carlos is working for some power-mad group who want the secret of our atom bomb. Unless we find him and Professor Sturgeon quickly, our country and perhaps the whole world is in great danger.
Yeah, but what can we do? Our only lead to Sturgeon is this Carlos guy, and he's disappeared without leaving a trace.
Oh, not quite. You know he was on a transcontinental airlines plane from South America to Metropolis last month. If you check with the airline, you might pick up a lead to him.
Okay, I'll make a routine check, Kent. But frankly, I'm not too hopeful. Get me Transcontinental Airlines. Who wants to speak to me? Okay, put him on. And meanwhile, get me Transcontinental. Healy.
Oh, maybe he found a lead.
I hope so. Yes, Healy, what's on your mind? A fire? Well, why bother me with it? Where? Oh. Yeah, I know, but... Well, okay. I'll get out there. Right.
What's that about a fire, Inspector?
Healy says there's a big blaze in a warehouse on Walnut Street, number 94.
94 Walnut? That's next door to the vacant lot. The forwarding address Carlos left at the Mountain Lodge.
You mean the phony forwarding address he left to throw us off the track?
I know, but just the same, I'm going out to that fire. That address is the only lead we have, and I want another look at it anyhow.
Well, I told Healy I'd be out there, too. Wait till I make this call to Transcontinental Airlines, and I'll drive you out.
Oh, thanks, but I've got my own transportation. I'll meet you out there, Inspector. So long.
Leaving police headquarters, Clark Kent steps into an alleyway and swiftly resumes his true identity of Superman. Then, up, and away! Leaping high from the pavement, the man of steel streaks across the city to the warehouse district. From miles away, he can see the great conflagration lighting the night sky and hear the screaming sirens of police and fire equipment.
That's a terrific fire. Hope nobody was trapped in it. I'd better see. Faster! Now, here we are. Let's have a look. Wow, that warehouse is going up like a matchbox. Fire department seems helpless to save it. Wait a minute. What's that? Two people. A man and a girl in that burning room. Down to them. Down! Uh-oh, they're unconscious. Great Scott, it's Lois and Horatio Horn. Up with them. There we are. Now, through that ceiling. Up and away!
May I see Miss Lane or Mr. Horn now?
Mr. Horn is still asleep, Mr. Kent, but Miss Lane is up and already dressed.
Oh, that's fine.
She's in this room. You may go in now.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Hiya, Lois.
Oh, it's you, Clark. Look, will you please get hold of whoever runs this hospital and tell him, her, or it that I've got to get out of here?
Now,
I may already be too late.
Take it easy, Lois. That's,
Take it
doctor
easy? Do you realize that Carlos and his gang of cutthroats left New Orleans with Professor Sturgeon last night?
What?
Yes. Heaven only knows where they are now. Well, don't just stand here. Get hold of somebody and get me out of here.
How do you know Carlos and Professor Sturgeon were in New Orleans last night?
Carlos wasn't.
You just said he
His
was.
gang was, with Professor Sturgeon. They took off from New Orleans by air for some place at 10:40. No, 10:50.
They took off for where?
I don't know. I called the New Orleans airport from here before you came in. There was no scheduled flight out of there last night at that time.
Oh, they must have used a private plane.
That's what I figured. And get this, Clark.
What?
Carlos and his gang, whoever they are, intend to get the atom bomb secrets from Professor Sturgeon because they want to control the world.
Well, that's a tall order, but unless we find them in a hurry, heaven knows what might happen. Let's see now, they got a 7-hour start on me, but if I get down there at once and pick up the trail of that plane... Look, Lois, have you contacted Inspector Henderson yet?
I was just going to, but
we'll do it at once. I'll see you later.
Where are you going?
I've got a little idea.
I know. You're going to New Orleans without me. Clark, you've got to wait until they let me out of here. Clark, can't you come back here? Clark, if you don't...
Hurriedly leaving the hospital, Clark Kent steps behind a patch of bushes, strips off his business suit. Then, once again, as Superman, he leaps high into the early morning sky and streaks away to the southwest. Moments later, once more in his guise of Clark Kent, he is speaking to the dispatcher at the New Orleans airport.
Yes, there was a plane going to take off at 10:50 last night, but it didn't get off the ground until around 1 in the morning. Left engine needed attention.
That may be the plane I'm looking for. What sort of a job was it?
It was a converted Army C-47, charter job, hauling freight and passengers. Here's the number on it. 43-743.
43-743. Do you have a list of the passengers by any chance?
No, we just checked the pilot, cleared the freight on charter hauls.
Oh, I see. Well, what about the freight on this plane?
Just one big packing case. That's fish.
Fish?
Yeah, pilot said something about his passengers transporting some rare big fish. I wanted to get a look at it. I'm interested in fish, but I couldn't leave the tower.
That is the plane I want. Tell me, where was it bound?
Brownsville, Texas. Should have been there about 30 minutes ago.
I'll be there in 30 seconds to find out.
You'll what?
Nothing. I'm going to Brownsville. Thanks, Lois.
Leaving the dispatcher's office, Clark Kent steps behind a hangar, once more resumes his identity of Superman, and rockets away to Brownsville, apparently but a scant 30 minutes behind his quarry. We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, when you think of the circus, you know, the big top and the clowns and all the excitement, you usually think of those gay-colored pinwheels that go spinning around in the breeze. And that's just what the Kellogg Company had in mind when they designed this week's Pep Dish of the Week, Cantaloupe Pinwheel. Believe me, it's as exciting and breezy a dish as you'd ever hope to taste. Here's the idea. You start off with your regular serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Then take your spoon and scoop the cantaloupe out in strips. Arrange them on top of your Pep, you know, like the spokes of a wheel. Add milk and sugar, and that's a cantaloupe pinwheel. Gives Kellogg's Pep a real chance to show what it can do for fresh fruit. Well, you get a kick out of the way that sparkling sunshine flavor comes through, and the terrific way those tender flakes seem to melt in your mouth. Why, before you know it, you'll eat up every bit of pep in your bowl, which is certainly the right idea, particularly nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls overseas. So, gang, when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocery, pass the word along to the family not to waste it. Always be sure to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Speaking to Brownsville, Texas, on the trail of Professor Sturgeon and his mysterious abductors, Superman, once more in his guise of Clark Kent, is speaking with the dispatcher at the Brownsville airport.
I'm Clark Kent, reporter for the Metropolis Daily Planet. I'm looking for a plane that landed here a little while ago, a charter job, number 43-743.
I'm looking for that plane, too, mister.
You're looking? What do you mean?
I mean, it was due in here about half an hour ago, but up to now it's unreported.
What?
That's right. Hasn't landed here or anywhere else as far as we know. That number 43-743 seems to have clean disappeared.
Dismayed, Clark Kent stares blankly at the Brownsville airport dispatcher. Victory was almost in his hands, but now he clutches only empty air. What has happened to the plane and to Professor Sturgeon, one of the few men in the world who knows all the secrets of the most potent weapon in the universe? Has grim fate taken a hand to remove him from the earth? Or has the clever Carlos once more outwitted the man of steel? Don't miss tomorrow's thrilling episode, fellows and girls. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, I know you know lots of famous names, so you're sure to know Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. But do you know that swell breakfast treat, Kellogg Shredded Wheat? Why, it's delicious. You see, Kellogg picks out finest whole wheat, toasts it to natural nut-sweet goodness. Kellogg packs 15 tender plump biscuits in every package. And Kellogg sees to it that you get the grand nutrition of whole wheat in biscuits made to fit the bowl. Ask Mom to get you some Kellogg Shredded Wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, the far-flung search for Alonzo Sturgeon has taken Superman to Texas, where once again the trail ends in mystery.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, you want to have a circus of fun at breakfast tomorrow? Have yourself a cantaloupe pinwheel, patterned after those brilliant-colored circus pinwheels that go spinning around in the breeze. You know, that's this week's pep dish of the week, cantaloupe pinwheel, and it sure does tickle your taste. Here's how it goes. You start off with your regular serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Then, with your spoon, scoop out strips of golden ripe cantaloupe. Arrange them on top of your Pep, you know, like the spokes of a wheel. Add milk and sugar, and pitch in. No kidding, gang. This is a dish your appetite will really latch onto, because those crisp, tender flakes of Kellogg's Pep are tops when it comes to real melt-in-your-mouth goodness. What's more, Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's loaded with sunny, golden toasted flavor. If you get hep to Pep, you'll want to eat up every bit in your bowl. And you know, that's particularly important nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls overseas. So make sure not a bit is wasted when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and finish off every bit you pour out. Remember, gang, that's important. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Now, the adventures of Superman. When Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, the Daily Planet's rural correspondent, were captured by the same gang who had abducted Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, famous atom bomb scientist, they learned that the professor had been taken to New Orleans.
From there, he was to be transported to a secret destination by air. Superman rescued Lois and Horn from the flaming warehouse in which the gang had imprisoned them, and then streaked to New Orleans, where he discovered that a plane, apparently carrying Professor Sturgeon, had taken off several hours before for Brownsville, Texas. As we continue now, Superman has rocketed to Brownsville, and once more in his guise of Clark Kent, has just heard disquieting news from the dispatcher at the airport.
Sure you know which plane I'm talking about? Yes, sir, Mr. Kent. That plane was due here an hour ago, but up to now it's unreported.
Unreported?
That's right. Seems to have clean disappeared.
Oh, when was the last time you had any word of it?
When it took off from New Orleans around 1 o'clock this morning, not a thing since.
That's strange. Have you checked with the other fields between here and New Orleans?
No, sir, but we'd have been notified right away if he came down at a regular commercial airport.
No.
You see, they're all on the teletype loop. But there's a heap of small fields which don't have a teletype. If he landed at one of them or in the open country, there's no telling when we'd get a report.
Well, is anything being done to locate the plane?
Yes, sir. I notified the federal people. They've got search planes out now.
I see.
They'll let me know as soon as they find anything. If they find anything.
Well, that plane must be found. If it isn't, our country and the whole civilized world will be in great danger.
What do you mean, Mr. Kent?
Well, there's no time to explain now, but if that plane really intended to come to Brownsville, I'll find out if he came down between here and New Orleans.
You find out. You got a plane?
Well, no, not exactly,
Look,
but...
Mr. Kent, the best thing for you to do is to wait right here until we get a report from the search party.
But
Because even if you chartered a plane, you'd be a month covering all the country between here and New Orleans.
I can do it a lot faster than that. Thanks a lot, though. I'll be seeing you.
Leaving the puzzled dispatcher's office, Clark Kent steps behind a hangar, stripped off his business suit, and stands revealed in the blue costume and red cape of Superman. Up, and away! Leaping high into the sky over the Brownsville airport, the Man of Steel streaks away toward New Orleans, his keen eyes searching every inch of the terrain below for a converted Army transport, number 43-743. For hours he searches vainly, flashing out over the blue Gulf of Mexico to examine the waters near the coast. Meanwhile, almost 2,000 miles to the south, the very plane Superman seeks is droning steadily southward above the Pacific Ocean. In the cockpit, co-pilot Bruce McMillan talks to pilot Bill Ramsey.
There's a couple of things about this setup I don't like, Bill.
What's eating you now, Bruce?
Well, first thing, I've heard of shipping rare animals and birds and stuff from the tropics to the States. But this is the first time I ever heard of flying a specimen of fish from the States to the tropics.
Live and learn, boy. Live and learn. Anyhow, what's it to you so long as we collect $5,000 for the trip? That'll buy us another ship for our new GI airline.
What good will the money do us if we get in trouble?
What trouble? We're not getting into trouble, Bruce.
I hope not. But answer me this one. How come our two passengers had us take off for Brownsville last night and then made us switch course and light out for Boulevard?
They told us why. They were afraid that what they call their fish might get sick, so they decided to pass up the ichthyologist meeting in Brownsville and go straight to Boulevard.
Okay, I'll buy that. But I still think it's funny about our radio conking out just then, so we couldn't notify Brownsville. It was okay before.
This is an old ship, Bruce. Things always happen to jalopies. You know that. Marone promised to install a new radio for us when we get to Boulevard, by the way.
Yeah, nice of it.
Sure it is. The only thing that bothers me, though, is they'll be hunting for us all over Texas by this time. That means lots of explanation when we get back.
I tell you, this whole setup smells fishy to me, Bill.
Oh, I was wondering when that pun was coming.
I'm not punning. Marone doesn't act like a zoologist or ichthyologist or any other kind of anologist to me. And Dr. Blomberg reminds me of some of those big-shot Hitler heels we saw in Germany.
Look, Bruce, will you stop looking for trouble for the love of Mike?
Okay. But don't say I didn't warn you. I just wish I could hear what those two are talking about back there in the cabin.
Probably just telling fish stories. Relax, pal, relax. You do not think the pilots, Ramsey and McMillan, have become suspicious, Herr Marone?
Those stupid Yankees. Do not worry about them, Dr. Blomberg. They did not even become suspicious when their radio suddenly failed.
Good. All that remains, then, is to persuade Professor Sturgeon to tell us a few secrets of the atom bomb which we do not know.
Believe me, Blomberg, he will tell you. As head of the Boulevard Political Police Bureau, I have perfected ways of making men talk which not even your Gestapo know. We approach the Cape. Within an hour we shall be in the Boulevard.
It's been a long trip for Professor Sturgeon, and he is no longer young. You are certain it is a good physician who travels with him in that packing case?
It is our leader's own physician who accompanies him. Do not worry. He assured me only a few minutes ago that the big fish, whom he keeps unconscious to prevent any outcry, is in excellent condition.
But is it safe to keep a man unconscious so long? Forgive me for asking, but I am a scientist, not a physician.
I said do not worry. Our man knows his job.
What of these pilots? Surely you do not intend to allow them to return to America and say where they have been?
Do you think me a fool? I will permit them to begin that return journey to the States. To get perhaps halfway there so no connection can be traced to Bolomar. Then they will have an accident. They will simply crash to death in the jungles, or perhaps in the Gulf of Mexico. It matters not.
You mean you will do something to their plane before they leave Bolomar?
Exactly. Another procedure which my political police bureau has perfected.
But suppose it goes wrong?
It will not.
But it may. It would be safer to finish them off in Bolomar.
If you please, Dr. Blomberg, attend to your job and permit me to attend to mine. I wish the plane to crash where no suspicion can attach to my country. And until our atom bombs are complete, and we can strike the Yankees to their knees with a lightning surprise attack, I wish no incident to occur which might put them on their guard.
I see. Perhaps you know best, Herr Marone, but...
No buts, if you please. I am in command here. Now, I see we have passed over the Cape. I will go to instruct the pilots how to proceed to the secret airport. And there, while they lunch with me, my men will make the little adjustments to their plane, which will eliminate the only clue to the so precious Professor Sturgeon.
We'll be back in a moment for the dramatic climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, when a fellow or girl feels like tearing into a good day of work or play, it's almost a sure bet that there's a good hearty breakfast somewhere in the picture. And did I mention Kellogg's Pep? Why, Pep is the old appetite tickler that makes you want to eat hearty. Good to look at when you hitch up your chair to the table. Golden and toasted and crisp as can be. And is Pep terrific to taste. You can't beat that sunshine flavor for teasing your spoon right back for more. You know, Kellogg's Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's famous for sparkling, sunny goodness and for its solid whole wheat nutrition. Mom will tell you how good it is for you, sure. And she likes the way you dig into your dish of Kellogg's Pep until you've finished off every last tender flake. And nowadays, too, there's a new angle to this business of not wasting cereal. You see, the cereal grains have been picked out to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls all over the world. So when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, you make sure there's no waste at your house. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. And pass the word along to the rest of your family, too. Remember, gang, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Late that evening, a converted Army transport plane with pilot Bill Ramsey and co-pilot Bruce McMillan at the control wings across a dense tropical jungle and sights the moonlit waters of the Gulf of Mexico ahead.
Well, here we are on our way again, Bruce, and it won't be long now before we'll be home.
That'll be okay with me, Bill. I won't feel right till we sit down on our own little old runway.
Still haunted by the good Senor Marone and Dr. Blomberg, huh?
You bet I am.
But we're rid of them. They're not with us anymore.
I know. But just the same, I don't feel quite safe yet. I wouldn't trust those two as far as I could throw this old crate of ours.
Tis, such gratitude. And we with 5,000 of their simoleons. Not to mention the fancy radio they tossed in for free.
I know. Maybe I'm crazy, Bruce. But I still say those guys are bad actors. I don't like...
Hey, wait. Huh? Something's happened to our number one motor.
What the... You're not kidding. It's on fire.
I'll switch it off. Get the extinguisher going, Bruce. Hurry.
Right. Holy cats, look. Signal's number 2.
Creepers, what brought that on?
Search me. Signal's number 3.
What?
Hey, look out. We're losing altitude fast.
You're telling me. Quick, get on the radio. SOS. Give our number and position. Hurry.
Right. Attention, all stations. Attention, all stations. Plane 43-743 in trouble over Gulf. 3 engines gone. Position 96.5. 15.6.
There goes number 4. We're going down, Bruce. Stay on that radio. It's starting to spin.
Attention, all stations. SOS. SOS. Plane 43-743 in crash site.
Hang on, Bruce. Here we go.
Holy smokes, we're going to crash into the Gulf.
Nose pointed straight down, on fire and spinning like a smoking top. The old Army plane hurtles down to the dark waters of the Gulf, carrying Bill Ramsey and Bruce McMillan to what seems like certain destruction. Senor Maron has done his work well. And now, if the 2 pilots perish, the only clue to Professor Sturgeon's whereabouts and to the evil power which plans to hurl the world once again into slavery and chaos will disappear with them. What will happen? Is there any chance for the 2 flyers for whom Superman is diligently searching? Tomorrow's episode, tense with excitement, will tell the story, fellows and girls. So don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, when you line up all the famous names that you know, you'll find that Kellogg is mighty near the top. That's Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. And here are some of the good things Kellogg packs into each plump, tender biscuit of Kellogg shredded wheat. Flavor, natural nut-sweet flavor, toasted just right. Nutrition, fine whole wheat nourishment. And for economy, Kellogg packs 15 biscuits in every package. And they're made to fit the bowl. Try them soon. You'll like Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, the abductors of Professor Sturgeon have scored another victory as the plane they have sabotaged drops like a flaming torch into the Gulf of Mexico.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, you know what it is that keeps so many fellows and girls all hepped up about dashing into breakfast on the double quick? A sunny golden toasted bowl of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir, when Pep leads off the menu, sometimes it's mighty hard to wait for breakfast. You keep thinking about how tender and how crunchy those whole wheat flakes are, and, well, right away you want to start spooning them up. Sure, you keep looking forward to your first taste of that sparkling sunshine flavor, and you can hardly wait to begin. And when you think of all the terrific good eating in that bowl of Kellogg's Pep, you're mighty sure that you're going to keep at it until you've polished off every last crisp flake, which is always a smart idea because Pep is good for you. Gives you solid whole wheat nourishment plus. But it's particularly important nowadays because, you see, we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls overseas. Think of that, gang, when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. Don't waste it. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. And say, kind of keep an eye on your younger brothers and sisters, too. Remember how important it is to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. As you remember, Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, famous atom-smashing scientist, was abducted by agents of the country of Bolomar, who intend to force him to reveal the secrets of the atom bomb. Posing as ichthyologists, the agents chartered an American plane and loaded a large crate aboard which they said contained a rare specimen of fish, but which actually contained the unconscious Professor Sturgeon. In Bolomar, the plane was secretly tampered with, and when the American pilots reached the Gulf of Mexico on their return trip, their plane suddenly caught fire. They had time only to radio an SOS when they crashed into the dark waters of the Gulf. As we continue now, Superman, who had followed the trail to Brownsville, Texas, has returned to the airport there in his guise of Clark Kent. Entering the administration building, he proceeds to the operations room, where the radio operator is trying desperately to contact the lost plane.
Any luck yet, Sparks?
Not yet. Can't seem to raise him again.
When did you pick up the SOS?
A few minutes ago. It came in on the loudspeaker, but very weak. When I plugged in on the earphones, the pilot talked very fast. Said he was at 3,000 with all 4 engines on fire. He was about to die.
Did he give you his position?
Yeah, he gave it to me at once, but before I could check it, his radio went dead entirely.
Do you remember where he said they were?
Well, I wrote it down here on this slip.
Oh, good.
I'll read it to you.
Give me the slip, Eddie. I'll pinpoint it on the chart. You keep trying to raise him.
Okay.
Come over to the chart, Mr. Kent.
Right.
Calling 43-743. Brownsville calling 43-743.
Here's the chart. Well, let's see. 96.5, 15.6.
That'd be right about here.
Right. Christopher, that's practically 400 miles due east. Looks bad for that crew.
400 miles due east, you say?
Near as I can plot it, yeah. Eddie got it right.
Well, we can't waste time. Got to get to them right away.
Be a couple of hours before we can get a plane out there. I'm afraid they haven't a chance, poor guys.
Well, maybe they have got a chance.
Only a miracle could... Oh, where are you going, Mr. Kent?
For a quick dip in the Gulf. See you later.
Hurrying from the administration building, Kent steps behind a hangar and strips off his business suit to stand revealed in the blue costume and red cape of Superman. Then, leaping high from the airport, he rockets away to the east and over the dark waters of the moonlit Gulf of Mexico. 100 miles, 200 miles, 300 miles, he flashes onward like a hurtling bullet. Then, suddenly, he checks his flight, hovers high in midair.
Position radio to be right about here, I'd say. But I don't see any plane on the water. Better range around a bit. No, don't see them yet. Well, they couldn't have gone much farther than this. I'm afraid I'm too late. Wait a minute. Ahead to the right. A sinking plane and a man lying on top of it. Now! One of the pilots unconscious. Uh-oh, another chap in the cockpit. Just wrench this side of the office open. Like this. And get him out. There. Oh, it's the other pilot. Poor fellow's in bad shape. I got to get these fellows to a hospital in a hurry. They must tell me where they took Professor Sturgeon. Up! Up! And away!
Zooming up from the Gulf waters with the limp, battered bodies of the unconscious pilots in his arms, Superman streaks northward, sights the gleaming lights of New Orleans on the horizon, and in a flash is above the city. Spotting a hospital, he drops down, delivers his patients to an astonished doctor and nurse, and disappears. A short time later, once more in his guise of Clark Kent, he is questioning the hospital doctor.
Those 2 pilots, Doctor, will they live?
I'm quite sure one of them will. Name's Ramsey. But it's touch and go with the other one, Mr. Kent.
Oh, the poor chaps. Well, tell me, this Ramsey, when do you think I might be able to speak to him?
Well, that's a hard question to answer. He was very badly burned and suffered severe lacerations.
Oh?
All depends on how he responds to the transfusion.
I see. Look, Doctor, I wouldn't be so insistent, you understand, if it weren't so important. But you read about the abduction of Professor Sturgeon, didn't you?
Oh, yes, terrible thing. Papers seem to think some power-mad gang or foreign agents abducted him to get the secret of the atom bomb.
I'm sure they did. And these 2 pilots know where he is.
What's that?
They took off from New Orleans last night with the professor. Now, almost 24 hours later, they crashed within 400 miles of here. That means they took the professor somewhere and were on their way back to New Orleans when they cracked up.
Good heavens.
That's why I've got to talk to them as soon as possible, Doctor.
Yes, I understand. Well, ordinarily, I wouldn't want Ramsey to be questioned, but considering the circumstances... Look, you wait right here in this anteroom. The moment I think Ramsey might be questioned, I'll send a nurse for you.
That's fine, Doctor. I won't stir from this room.
While Clark Kent waits anxiously for an opportunity to talk with the men who hold the secret of Professor Sturgeon's whereabouts, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, the little amateur detective, have just arrived in New Orleans by plane from Metropolis. Now, at the airport, only a few miles from the hospital where Kent waits, Lois has just returned from an interview with the dispatcher. As we join them, she is talking to Horn on the apron near the exit gate.
I knew it, Mr. Horn.
You knew what, Miss Lane?
Clark Kent beat me to it again.
Really?
Yes, the dispatcher says that he's already been here asking the same questions that I did.
But how could that be? We caught the first regularly scheduled flight out of Metropolis today.
Well...
And you said that you had seen Mr. Kent just before that.
He must have wangled a ride on a special fast plane and left me cooling my heels at the airport. Oh, just wait till I see him. I'll tell him a thing or two.
Never mind that now, Miss Lane. What did you find out from the dispatcher?
Oh, now listen. A charter plane took off from here about 1 o'clock this morning. Cleared for Brownsville, Texas, but never got there.
Good gracious. You mean it crashed somewhere?
Not last night, no, but about a half an hour ago, that same plane radioed an SOS from a position about 400 miles out in the Gulf. The pilot said that it was on fire and about to crash.
Great grasshoppers. 400 miles out in the Gulf, and at night. That means Professor Sturgeon is dead.
It doesn't mean anything of the sort, Mr. Horn.
What?
Look, I thought you were a detective.
Well, I am. I could show you my badge and diploma, summa cum laude, from the famous
Yes,
correspondence.
skip it, will you? Now listen and think. The plane took off almost 24 hours ago, but it crashed only 400 miles away. Now, obviously, it traveled a lot farther than 400 miles in 24 hours, don't you think?
Of course, but... Oh, you mean...
I mean that plane must have taken Professor Sturgeon someplace and was on its way back when it crashed. Now, what we've got to do is find out where it took him. Unfortunately, the poor pilots are probably lost. Mr. Horn, you're not listening. Mr. Horn!
Huh?
I said you're not listening. We've got a job to do, a big job, and if you're not going to listen... What?
I say I think it is.
You think what is what?
Him.
Him? For heaven's sake, what are you talking
Come
about?
along, Miss Lane. Hurry, before he gets away.
Before who gets away?
I told you. Him.
Mr. Horn, have you gone out of your mind?
Oh, no, Miss Lane. Not Horatio F. Horn. I say that's Carlos, by Gulliver, or I'll eat my handcuffs.
Carlos?
Yes, the fellow who locked us in the warehouse last night and set it on fire. The one responsible for Professor Sturgeon's abduction.
Good heavens. Where is he? Where?
See that tall fellow just ahead of the woman with the baby?
Yes.
He's wearing a black Homburg hat and carrying a briefcase.
Oh, yes, but
He got out of the Chicago plane that just landed.
Well, I can't see his face. Are you sure it's Carlos?
Positive. I got a good look at him. He has a beard,
A beard? Carlos didn't have a beard.
Oh, this is a phony beard.
Now, how can you tell that?
My dear Miss Lane, I'm a good detective, and a good detective can spot a phony beard or mustache a mile away.
Oh, pooh.
Besides, remember the long red scar Carlos has across the bridge of his nose?
Yes.
I saw the scar just now. That made me sure. Look, he's turning his head.
It is Carlos. What'll we do, Mr. Horn? We can't let him get away.
Indeed, we can't. Especially since he knows where Professor Sturgeon is. We must trail him. Come, Miss Lane, hurry.
Their pulses racing with excitement. Lois Lane and little Horatio Horn hurry after the tall, swarthy Carlos and into serious trouble. We'll see what happens in a moment. So stand by for the tense climax of today's episode.
You know, this week's Pep Dish of the Week sure has made a terrific hit. It has some of that old circus excitement. Makes breakfast as gay and colorful as anything. How about trying it over the weekend? It's a cantaloupe pinwheel, you know. And here's how easy it is to make. You start off with your regular serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Then take your spoon and scoop the cantaloupe out in strips. Arrange them on top of your Pep, like the spokes of a wheel. Add milk and sugar, and that's a cantaloupe pinwheel. One of the dozens of swell ways to dress up your morning dish of Kellogg's Pep. Of course, just Pep with milk and sugar makes a slick treat any day of the week. Pep is crisp and crunchy. Pep is full of sparkling sunshine flavor that keeps your appetite interested until you've eaten up every single toasted flake in your bowl. And you know, that's one way to keep from wasting cereal. Another way is to pour out your Pep carefully. All this is particularly important nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls overseas. Remember that, gang, when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Spotting a man named Carlos, whom they know to be one of Professor Sturgeon's abductors. Lois Lane and Horatio Horn have hurried after him through the gate of the New Orleans airport. On the street, the tall Latin walks swiftly along a dark row of cars parked at the curb under spreading trees.
Wouldn't you just know that at a time like this we wouldn't see a single police officer?
Keep calm, Miss Lane, keep calm. Remember that Horatio Horn is at your side.
What a comforting thought that is. Not.
Carlos seems in a hurry. I wonder where he's going.
I don't know, but we can't lose him. Wait, Mr. Horn.
Huh?
Look, that car's waiting for him.
Yes? There's a big husky chauffeur standing by it.
What are we going to do now? He'll get away.
We can't lose him, by Gulliver. We mustn't. He knows where Professor Sturgeon is. You, Carlos, wait.
No, Mr. Horn, come back here.
Stop, Carlos.
Look out, Mr. Horn. He's getting out of the car. Oh, well, I wouldn't give for a policeman.
Stay where you are, Carlos.
Oh, my good friend, Senor Horn and Senorita Lane. We meet again, huh?
You bet we do, by Gulliver. And this
Look
time...
out, Mr. Horn. He's got a gun.
Hey, the same gun I had last night, with which I should have finished you. Step into my car, please.
Now, wait, Carlos.
Quick, into the car, both of you.
No.
Now, look here. You can't...
Into the car, I said, or I shoot. Quickly. Do as I say.
Taken aback by the surprising turn of events, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn look helplessly at Carlos's menacing gun. Then, powerless to resist, step into the car. Carlos follows them. The chauffeur slams the door shut, slides in behind the wheel, and the car speeds smoothly away into the night. Once again, Lois and the little amateur detective have fallen into the ruthless hands of the Bolomar foreign agent. What will happen to them this time? As Superman waits anxiously for a chance to talk with the injured flyers about Professor Sturgeon, who we know is already in Bolomar. Monday's episode is tense and thrilling, gang, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, what makes a famous name famous? Well, Kellogg is famous as the greatest name in cereals. And one reason is Kellogg shredded wheat. Those are the plump, tender biscuits made to fit your breakfast bowl. 15 of them in every package. Each biscuit toasted just right and full up with natural nut sweet flavor. Mom knows Kellogg shredded wheat is good for you, too. This is whole wheat. So remember Kellogg, gang. Ask Mom for Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Horatio Horn has again walked into trouble. Serious trouble. As he and Lois Lane find themselves recaptured by the villain, Carlos.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, how's breakfast at your house? Is it just breakfast? Or is it a snappy sort of meal that looks good, tastes good, and helps you feel good about starting a new day? I mean, gang, does your breakfast start off with a sunny bowl of Kellogg's Pep? Yes, sir. Pep is an appetite tickler from way back. It's called the Sunshine Cereal, you know. So it's packed to the brim with sparkling sunshine flavor, a toasted full wheat flavor that keeps your spoon digging in for more. And are those whole wheat flakes crisp? Are they crunchy? Why, they practically melt in your mouth. Believe me, it's no trouble at all to keep right at your morning dish of Kellogg's Pep until you've polished off every last tender flake, which is always a good idea because Pep is good for you. Sure, gives you solid whole wheat nourishment plus. And it's particularly important nowadays to eat all your Pep and to pour it out carefully, too, because the cereal grains are being sent to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls overseas. So you don't want to waste cereal. Tell the rest of your family about that, gang. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, make sure you eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Plotting to obtain the secret of our atom bomb, agents of the country of Bolomar abducted Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, one of America's foremost atomic scientists. Posing as ichthyologists, the conspirators chartered an American plane, and arriving in Bolomar with the professor concealed in a crate, sabotaged the plane so that it would crash on its return journey. Superman rescued the critically injured pilots in the Gulf of Mexico and took them to a New Orleans hospital, where he is now waiting anxiously for them to revive. Meanwhile, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, the little amateur detective, had arrived in New Orleans. At the airport, they spotted one of the abductors, a man named Carlos, and followed him to a waiting car. Rashly, Horn attempted to stop Carlos, who produced a gun and ordered them into the car. As we continue now, our friends have been driven several miles from New Orleans. Stopping on a lonely, moonlit country road, Carlos and his husky chauffeur forced Lois and Horn to leave the car and walk into a tree-lined field of sugarcane. Listen.
This is far enough. Stop.
Far enough for what?
Yes. What are you going to do, Carlos?
What I thought I had done last night, Senorita Lane. Get rid of you and the Senor Horn.
You put that gun down.
Wait, Carlos. Don't shoot.
Adios, my friend.
1 minute. What? A last request. I demand to be blindfolded. That's a formality always granted a condemned man.
You're afraid to face death, senor?
Yes, I am.
Why, Mr. Horn?
See how the Yankee shakes, Paulo. Like a scared dog.
I say, Capitan, but permit me to suggest it would be best to dispatch him and the senorita at once. Remember, we have long journey to make.
I know. But another moment will make no difference. Blindfold the coward.
But, Capitan...
Do as I say, Paulo. The honor of our army demands that his last request be granted.
As you desire, Senor Capitan.
Thank you, Captain Carlos. Thank you.
It is nothing, senor. But I thought that...
Mr. Horn, look out.
Diablo.
How do you like that?
Good heavens.
The Lucho, what is this? Get off my chest, follow!
Come on, Miss Lane, quickly.
He threw me over his shoulder.
What are we going to do?
Run for those trees fast.
But Mr.
Don't
Horn...
talk. Run. Faster, Miss Lane. If we can get in among those trees, we might get away.
I can't believe it. You threw him over your head, right into Carlos.
Nothing sensational. Just a little judo. Don't stop, Miss Lane.
You think I'm crazy? Oh, that's right past my head.
Don't worry. They can't see us now in these trees. But keep going, Miss Lane.
Gee, this isn't a very thick wood.
No, but it's pretty dark in here. If we keep going...
Oh!
What happened, Miss Lane? Quick, get up.
I can't. My ankle. I turned it under me.
Great grasshoppers.
Oh, God.
Here, let me help you. Here they come. Can you walk, Miss Lane?
Not very well. Oh, dear.
This is a fine mess of beans. If only you women had sense enough to wear sensible heels instead of stilts.
Oh, this is no time to discuss women's footwear.
I suppose not, but
They're coming closer. What do we do, Mr. Horn?
I don't know, by Gulliver. These trees aren't thick enough to hide us. Wait, that fallen log. Come on, I'll help you.
But that isn't big enough to hide behind.
There's a bit of a gully back of it, see? And lots of branches and fallen leaves. We'll get behind it and cover ourselves up. Here we are. Quick now. Crouch down. And cover yourself with these branches and leaves.
All right. There we are.
We have lost them, eh, Senor Capitan?
Not yet. I know they went this way. We are sure to find them.
Keep your head covered. Stay close to the log. All right, I will.
Hold, fellow.
Don't make a sound, Miss Lane.
You see them, Senor Capitan?
No. Be quiet. Perhaps we can hear where they are.
I do not hear nothing.
Not do I. But I heard them a moment ago. They must be hiding close by.
They could only hide behind the trees. There are not so many trees in this small wood.
Exactly. You have your revolver?
Si, Capitan.
Then begin looking behind each tree. When you see them, shoot at once. You understand?
Si, si.
Come then. Slowly.
Here they come, Mr. Horn. They're sure to find us.
I'm afraid so, by
You
Gulliver.
should salute, too. Do not walk at my side. Walk a few paces to the right. So we observe all the trees.
Si, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, fool, idiot. All this trouble you make me by permitting the small Americano to trick you.
But he pretended to be so frightened. I was not prepared. And who could guess that small, meek one had knowledge of jiu-jitsu?
That's as stupid donkey as you could guess nothing. Such a thing. Hold. What is that?
I hear dogs, hounds.
See, it is dogs. What do they do here?
Perhaps the Yankee police seek us.
Nonsense. How could they know we are here?
I do not know.
Hold your tongue and resume searching. The Americanos must be found and dispatched. Then we go to the boat. Move, Zaluto, swiftly.
Wait.
There are some fallen logs. Be sure to look behind them, too.
Si, Capitan.
I'm afraid this is it, Mr. Horn.
Quiet. Don't even breathe.
Senor Capitan, look there.
Where? What is it?
Through the woods there, you see? On the ridge where the hounds run. Moving lights.
Uh-huh. I wonder who carries those lights.
I tell you, it is the Yankee police, Capitan.
No, it cannot be.
It must be, since the two reporters we seek recognize you at the airport. It is not possible that the Yankee detectives did likewise.
Perhaps.
Then they would have followed us, and now they charge with hounds. You see, they approach swiftly this way.
I do not like this. We must not be taken. Come, follow this way.
Well, I'll be jiggered.
What's happening, Mr. Horn?
Didn't you hear them? Look, they're running away.
What? I can't believe
It's true. It's true, I tell you. They were frightened away by the hounds.
Oh, how wonderful.
How perfectly hilarious.
Why, Mr. Horn, you're hysterical.
Quite hysterical.
Please, Mr. Horn, get hold of yourself.
No, I can't. This is so funny.
What's so funny about it?
Carlos, that very, very bad man. The fearless murderer, frightened out of his wits by...
Wouldn't you be frightened by a police search party if you were a criminal?
Those hounds aren't followed by the police.
What?
That's a party of raccoon hunters.
Good heavens.
Yes, our lives were saved by a good old Southern custom. Come, let's run to meet the hunters and see if they can help us run down Carlos and his man. Hello, you...
Excited by their unbelievably narrow escape from death, but still eager to catch Carlos, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn run toward the raccoon hunting party, hoping to enlist their aid in tracking down Professor Sturgeon's abductor. We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Now, gang, here's what you've been waiting for. Here's the story on this week's snappy new pep dish of the week. And it's mighty cool and refreshing these summer mornings. You ready? Here's the big announcement. This week's new pep dish of the week is a Blackberry Breeze. That's right, Blackberry Breeze teams up Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, with juicy, sugar-crusted blackberries. Easy as a breeze to make, too. Listen, on top of your regular serving of crisp, tender Pep, scatter a shower of blackberries that have been chilled in a little sugar. You finish off with cool milk, and that's your Blackberry Breeze. As cool and breezy a way to enjoy Kellogg's Pep as you can imagine. Of course, Kellogg's Pep is a swell summer dish. No matter how you serve it, it's crisp and delicate and loaded with sparkling sunshine flavor. Just show me a fellow or girl who'll even hesitate until every last flake of Kellogg's Pep is gone from that bowl. You know, that's particularly important nowadays. We don't want to waste cereal. Because, you see, the cereal grains have been picked out to send to fellows and girls overseas. Remember that when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. Pour your Pep out very carefully. And make sure you eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
First faint streaks of dawn are beginning to light the sky as Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, weary and bedraggled, stumble into the New Orleans hospital where Clark Kent still waits for the injured airplane pilots to revive and to tell him where they had transported Professor Sturgeon.
Lois, and Horatio Horn, what are you doing here? What happened to you?
Oh, we've been playing hide and seek all night, Clark. Oh, golly, this chair feels good.
What do you mean you've been playing hide and seek?
First, Carlos and Paolo chased us, and we got away, and then we chased them, and they got away.
Carlos? Wait a minute. You mean the Carlos who helped abduct Professor Sturgeon?
That's right, but he got away.
In his car. We hunted for hours, but it was no so.
Where was this? How did you run into him? Tell me, and I'll...
It's no use, Clark. He got away.
Maybe I can find
him.
him.
Well, we couldn't. A lot of raccoon hunters couldn't, and the police couldn't, so you skip it. Now, just tell us what's happening at this end.
Yes, what about those pilots? We stopped at a restaurant and bought a paper and read about Superman rescuing them and bringing them here.
And knowing that you were in New Orleans, having run out on me in Metropolis...
Oh, look, I'm sorry about that, Lois, but it was...
Forget it. I'm just too tired to be angry right now. Just tell us what's going on here.
So far, nothing. McMillan, one of the pilots, is in very bad shape.
Oh, that's
the other one,
bad,
Ramsey,
Clark.
is off the critical list, but he had a bad bang on the head, and the doctor says it might be some time before he's in any condition to answer questions.
Uh-oh. And where are we?
Still no place, by Gulliver. By the time this pilot is able to talk, it may be too late. Carlos's people might already have forced Professor Sturgeon to tell them all the secrets of the atom bomb.
That's what I'm worried about. If only we knew who they were. Look, you two were with Carlos twice now. Haven't you any idea who he or his people are?
At first, I thought he was a Spaniard.
He isn't.
But
He isn't, and while he talks and looks like a Latin, he's different from any I've ever seen. And, boy, I've interviewed plenty of them.
Well, try to remember. There must be something about him. His speech or his clothes or something distinctive that can give us a clue.
I can't think of anything. Can you, Mr. Horn?
No, I can't, Miss Lane. Wait, there was something.
There was?
What do you mean?
Yes, indeed, by Gulliver, there was something I noticed, and it might tell us where Professor Sturgeon is right now.
Fairly dancing with excitement, the little amateur detective sputters incoherently as he tries to get his words out to the eager Clark Kent and Lois Lane. What is the clue he discovered? Will it lead Clark Kent, who, as we know, is Superman, to Bolomar, where even now Professor Sturgeon is in the hands of the conspirators who wish to upset world peace? Tomorrow's episode is packed with excitement and suspense, fellows and girls, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. You know, gang, famous names are often family names, like the Kellogg family of cereals. And here's a famous member that makes breakfast mighty swell. It's Kellogg shredded wheat. Full ripe whole wheat made into tender plump biscuits that fit your bowl. Toasted just right, too, for crispness and natural nut-sweet flavor. As for nutrition, well, Kellogg shredded wheat is made of finest whole wheat. Mom likes that. And the economy of 15 biscuits in every package. Remind Mom to get Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, with Professor Sturgeon's whereabouts still unknown to Superman and his anxious friends, Horatio Horn hits upon a new means of tracing his wily abductors.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, the Kellogg Company sure did hit on something swell when they dreamed up this week's Pep Dish of the Week. It's so cool and refreshing for this time of the year, and it gives Pep a grand chance to show what it can do for fresh fruit. What's the dish? Why, it's called Blackberry Breeze, and here's how it goes. You pour your regular serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, in your breakfast bowl. Then on top, scatter some juicy blackberries that have been chilled in a little sugar. Add cool milk, and you have a Blackberry Breeze. Try it, gang. See how Pep does things for those sugar-crusted berries. See how Pep's sparkling sunshine flavor seems to rise and shine. And see how crisp those whole wheat flakes are. How tender and delicate and light. Believe me, gang, Kellogg's Pep always makes the sort of treat you want to keep right after until you've finished off every bit in your bowl. Which is an especially good thing nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls all over the world. It just wouldn't do to waste cereal. No, sir. So, gang, when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, keep this in mind. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully, and always make sure to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. While police and federal men throughout the nation search desperately for Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, leading atom bomb expert, who has been abducted by agents of an unknown foreign power, two Americans, the pilot and co-pilot of a small charter airline, know where the professor is. But the pilots rescued from a plane crash at sea by Superman lie critically injured in a New Orleans hospital, unable to reveal any information. Meanwhile, Lois Lane and Horatio F. Horn, the little amateur detective, had another encounter with Captain Carlos, one of the foreign abductors in New Orleans. But Carlos, after an attempt on their lives, got away. As we continue now, Lois and Horn have come to the hospital where Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, waits in the hope that at least one of the injured pilots will regain consciousness. As we join them now, Kent is explaining their position. Listen.
Doctors say it might be a long time before the pilots can give us any information.
But we can't wait a long time.
We certainly can't. Why, by Gulliver, Carlos's people may already have forced Professor Sturgeon to tell them the secret of the atom bomb.
Exactly, and that puts it squarely up to you two.
Up to us?
What do you mean, Clark?
Just this, Lois. You and Mr. Horn have had 2 contacts with Carlos.
Yes, but we've
now
been
think
unable...
back. There must be something about him. His speech, his manners, his clothes. something distinctive that'll give us a clue to his country.
I see what you mean.
Great grasshoppers. I just remembered something.
You did?
Zaluto.
What?
What's that?
He said Zaluto.
Who did?
Carlos. Don't you remember, Miss Lane? Tonight in the woods, when Carlos and that big bruiser, his chauffeur, were hunting for us. Carlos called him Zaluto.
Oh, yes.
So what?
Now, I know Zaluto is not a Spanish word.
That's probably his name.
It wasn't. His name was...
Paulo.
Right. Carlos was insulting him for letting us get away. He called him a fool, an idiot.
And a Zaluto, I remember now. It must be a word of his language. So if we can trace that, Clark.
Yes. We may have something, Lois.
Do you really think we have?
I'm sure we have. Oh, Mr. Horn, you may be a screwball, but you're wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Miss Lane.
All right, now let's get going. We get hold of all the foreign language dictionaries and hunt through them for the word Zaluto.
Excellent idea, by Gulliver.
Wait a minute. Where are we going to find foreign language dictionaries at this hour? It's 5:45 in the morning.
So what? Have you forgotten you're a newspaper woman, Lois? We'll go see Charlie Sims at the New Orleans Times. He'll let us into their library. Come on.
I've gone through all the dictionaries of the Balkan countries, Clark. They've got a lot of tongue twisters in their languages, but no Zaluto.
Ditto for the Middle Europeans, the Scandinavians, and the Russians.
Yes, and for the Central and South Americans in the Far East. Well, how does that leave on the shelf, Lois?
Well, let's see. Oh, not much. I think we've covered all the possibilities, Clark. Oh, golly. Looks like we're sunk.
Yes, it certainly does. Yes, indeed, it certainly
Wait a
looks
minute. Maybe we're not sunk yet.
What, Clark?
Zaluto may be idiomatic. That is, a word of dialect.
Huh?
Oh,
You know it. It may be a word in pretty general use in the country, but not accepted as a standard part of the language. Like, we'll take that word Jimmy always says.
Gleep.
Gleeps, yeah.
Yes.
Or groovy or dreamboat. A lot of our youngsters use those words all the time, but you won't find them in our dictionary.
You mean slang?
That's right.
Hi, Gulliver, I see what you're driving at, Mr. Kent.
Well, but that only makes things tougher, Clark. We don't know what country callers comes from. So how are we going to trace a word of slang or a dialect?
Well, a philologist may be able to help us.
What?
That's an expert on language.
Yes, of course.
Good idea, Clark. I move we take a taxi to the university. We're sure to find a language expert there.
Check, Lois. Come on, Mr. Horn.
The word is Zaluto, Mr. Kent.
That's right, Dr. Jonas. We can't be sure of the spelling, of course, but as Mr. Horn and Miss Lane repeated the pronunciation, it might be spelled Zaluto.
Yes, that's it, I'm sure.
Zaluto.
Does it sound at all familiar to you, Doctor?
I can't say it does, Mr. Kent.
Oh,
dear. Of course, my specialty is the Romance languages. However, I have quite an extensive library on philology, including some excellent works on little-known dialects.
Oh, fine.
Can we help you go through your books, Doctor?
Well, yes, perhaps you can. Here is a work by Hausmann on the little-known dialects of southern France and Italy. You might go through that, Miss Lane.
All right, I will.
And here is a book that you might read, Mr. Kent.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and one for you, Mr. Horn.
Very well, sir.
Now, let's all go to work.
Eagerly, Kent, Lois, and Horatio Horn set to work with Dr. Jonas in an attempt to trace the elusive word which they hope will lead them to the abductors of Professor Sturgeon. Meanwhile, in the little country of Bolomar, a land of lush green fields, mines, and many villages strung together by a single railroad and surrounded by tall, rugged mountain ranges, General Maron of the Political Police Bureau speaks with the Rex, the dictator of Bolomar, in the elaborate palace of the capital city once occupied by Bolomar's kings. Rex is of a middle height, strongly built, with a beaked nose, a cruel mouth, and piercing black eyes under shaggy brows. He wears a sky blue military uniform similar to Maron's, the cap heavy with gold braid and lace. On his chest is the great diamond star of Bolomar.
What is this you say to me, General Maron? Professor Sturgeon refuses to tell our scientists the secret of the American atom bomb?
See, we have done everything possible to make him talk, Excellency, but...
But what? You could not have done everything. We have means in our dungeons to make any man talk, be he made of steel.
But you forget, Excellency. Professor Sturgeon is not a young man. Certain travails which a younger man might live through would certainly kill him.
It is not true. The rack and the whip and the seawater are not the only ways. There are subtler means of torture to loosen a man's tongue. Where is the German Van Heller who was at the Gestapo? He knows such ways.
Van Heller has already tried, Excellency, but even he has been successful. The Yankee scientist has a strong mind. He understands that we plan to attack the United States as soon as we have the secret of the atom bomb.
He says he will die before he becomes a traitor to his country.
The stubborn fool, the Zaluto. He shall die truly enough and with great pain, but not before he tells us what we wish to know. I will personally make him reveal those secrets.
You, Excellency?
Yes, I. Do you think one Yankee can cheat me of my great opportunity and my destiny? To rule not this one small, insignificant country, but the whole world? It was fated that I and Bolemar should rise to those heights. Else, why would there be a great uranium deposit in our land for the German scientists to discover for us?
All this is true, Excellency. But how do you propose to get the atom bomb secrets? I tell you, the Yankee scientist does not fear death or pain.
Listen carefully, General. Neither he nor anyone else can withstand the Ibex drug.
Ibex drug?
It will melt the heart and the soul and the will of the strongest man, so that he cannot resist answering whatever is asked him.
But it melts his bones also, and his vital organs. We experimented with it on the political prisoners, as you remember, and all of them died before they could speak.
My physicians and chemists have made further experiments with the General. They think now they have found a means of preserving life.
They think, but you cannot be sure. Better that we continue our present methods. We may be able to break the professor's strong will in time.
In time? Did I not explain that we have very little time? All America seeks for him. Soon the police of all the United Nations will be seeking for him. We must work with utmost speed and secrecy. Call my physician. We go to work on the Professor Sturgeon at once.
We'll return in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, you fellows and girls are just as active in the summertime, use up just as much energy as any other time of the year. So a hearty breakfast is just as important to help start your day in high. And that, gang, is where Kellogg's Pep comes in. Sure, because Pep is such a slick dish, so crisp and delicate and full-flavored that, well, it wakes up your appetite so that you'll want to eat hearty. Not to mention all the solid whole wheat nourishment in this grand cereal and more. Yes, sir, breakfast sure gets the glad eye when Kellogg's Pep heads the menu. Why, Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's all sunny and golden looking and loaded with nifty sunshine flavor. A come-on sort of flavor that keeps your spoon coming right back until you've polished off every last bit in your bowl. You know, nobody ever wants to waste Kellogg's Pep. But nowadays, when we're sending the cereal grains, fellows and girls overseas, it's especially important. Remember that when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. Pass the word along to the rest of your family, too. Get the right habit, gang. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
On a cot in a dungeon room of the Bolomar Palace, Professor Alonzo Sturgeon lies in a deep drugged sleep. His gray hair is disarrayed. His thin, intelligent face is bruised and welted. In a chair, his piercing eyes fixed on the sleeping man's face, sits Rex, dictator of Bolomar. Beside him stands General Maron. 3 physicians hover above the cot, testing the professor's breathing, his heart, his pulse. In 2 other chairs, holding pads and fountain pens like stenographers, sit Bolomar's foremost scientist and Dr. Blomberg, Germany's leading expert of nuclear fission until the Allied victory.
Breathing, labored, but not dangerously so. In a moment, he should attain a state of semi-consciousness in which he may be questioned, Excellency.
Good.
It is best that he hears only one voice.
That will be my voice. My voice and my will shall make him tell us what we wish to know.
But you are not a scientist, Excellency.
Alfredo and Dr. Blomberg shall write on their pads the questions they wish answered. You understand, senores?
Yes, sir.
Very well, then.
Wait. His pulse quickens. His eyelids flutter.
His eyes open. But he does not appear awake.
Correct. He is in a state of semi-consciousness. But his mind is clear. Speak to him, Excellency. Ask him what you wish to know, and he will answer truthfully.
Tensely, all the conspirators in the dungeon room lean forward as the cruel-faced dictator prepares to ask vital questions of the American scientist who lies helplessly unconscious under the influence of a powerful and deadly drug. What will happen? Will Professor Sturgeon reveal the secrets of the atom bomb so that Rex can proceed with his evil plans to shatter world peace before even Superman can stop him? And what of Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Horatio Horn in New Orleans, desperately pursuing the one thin clue which might lead Superman to Bolomar? Will their efforts be successful before it is too late? Tomorrow's episode is packed with thrills and excitement, gang, so don't miss it whatever you do. Tune in, same time, same station. And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep. for excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, talk about famous names. Why, Kellogg is the greatest name in cereals. And Kellogg makes Kellogg shredded wheat, crisp, tender biscuits that are full up with natural nut-sweet flavor, toasted the Kellogg way just right. Mighty good for breakfast and mighty good for you. They're whole wheat, and Mom knows Kellogg shredded wheat is economical, too. You get 15 biscuits in every package. They're made to fit the bowl. Ask Mom to get you some Kellogg shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, with Professor Sturgeon at the mercy of the scheming rulers of Bolomar, the atomic secrets he alone knows may fall into the hands of ruthless enemies.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, there are some things you don't want to keep secret. For example, you want to let your family and friends in on the good eating you'll find in a breakfast bowl of Kellogg's Pep. Maybe you say, gee, Pep sure makes a terrific dish. Or maybe, say, Pep is delicious, and I mean delicious. Or maybe you go into more detail and tell how crisp and crunchy Kellogg's Pep is, how light and delicate and tender as a breeze, and how Pep's sparkling sunshine flavor makes your morning appetite wake up smiling. Kellogg's Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's sunny and golden as anything. And then Mom will probably add a good word about how Pep is good for you, too. And you might even go on to tell about how Kellogg's Pep is so keen you always polish off your bowl clean as a whistle. You know, that's one way to keep from wasting cereal. Another way is to pour it out carefully. And nowadays, folks take special pains to avoid waste because the cereal grains are being sent to fellows and girls all over the world. Remember that, gang. And say, keep an eye on your younger brothers and sisters, too. Get hep to Pep. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Now, the adventures of Superman. Although Clark Kent and his friends are certain that Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, foremost atom bomb scientist, has been abducted by agents of a foreign power, their only clue to the abductors is the word Zaluto, which one of them had used. While they tried desperately to determine the nationality of the culprits by tracing the language origin of the word, Professor Sturgeon was in the small tropical country of Bolomar, where he was given a powerful and dangerous drug designed to put him at the mercy of his questioners. As we continue now, in a dungeon room of the palace, the professor lies on a cot, his eyes half open, his breathing labored. Near him sits Rex, the dictator of Bolomar, who aspires to rule the world. Beside him sit two scientists. Physicians hover over the half-conscious American. Now, at a sign from the chief physician, Rex leans forward, his piercing black eyes fixed on his prisoner. He speaks. Listen.
Hear me clearly, Professor Sturgeon.
I hear you.
I'm going to ask you some questions. You will answer them truthfully. Do you understand?
I understand.
These are the questions you wish answered, Dr. Blomberg?
Yeah, Your Excellency.
Very well. Hear me, Professor Sturgeon. I will ask you first about the screen which moderates the speed of nuclear fission. You understand?
Yes.
You will tell me whatever I ask about the screen and about all other matters pertaining to the atom bomb.
Yes. I'll tell you.
Very well. Now, tell me this. In what ratio does the screen control the speed of nuclear fission in relation to the atomic weight per unit? Come. Tell me the formula.
The formula is M2/6.
Voice weak and labored but clear, the drugged professor answers promptly. For over an hour, the beak-nosed Rex fires questions prepared by Dr. Blomberg, the former Nazi atom-smashing expert, and by Dr. Hacheto, Bolomar's leading scientist. All these questions, too, Professor Sturgeon answers. But his voice grows weaker. His breathing falters. Then a shudder passes over his body, and he lies still.
Quick, Yutaro. The professor dies. Give him another injection of the drug.
He is still alive, Excellency. But I fear another injection of the drug will surely finish him.
He must be revived regardless. There are questions still on this paper he must answer.
Perhaps he has answered enough, Your Excellency.
You mean you have enough information to manufacture atom bombs similar to the Americans, Blomberg?
I think I have enough to complete their manufacture, Excellency. Do not forget, I was myself within a year of the secret in Germany before the war ended.
See, but
the early and arduous preparation has already been done in the underground cyclotrons and factories here. The uranium pile is completed and purified. All that remains is one or two minor corrections in my previous preparations, and saying the completion of the bombs according to Professor Sturgeon's formula.
How long will that take?
Not long, a week, 2 weeks at the most. And the atom bombs will be ready to rain down upon the United States.
We cannot wait 2 weeks. All America, soon all the United Nations will be searching for Professor Sturgeon. We are in ill repute with the United Nations. Should they have reason to suspect us, they may descend upon us and discover our underground factories and airports. You must have the bombs ready in 1 week at most.
I will do my best, Excellency.
General Maron, you will summon the chiefs of the Army and Air Force to meet with the council room at once. We strike at the United States in 1 week.
In 1 week, says Rex of Bolomar, planes carrying atom bombs will launch a surprise and devastating attack upon the United States. As Rex's scientists and military chiefs rush toward preparation of the attack, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Horatio Horn, the little amateur detective, are in the library of Dr. Jonas at far-off New Orleans University. Exhausted, Lois has fallen asleep in her chair, while Kent, Horn, and Dr. Jonas continue their pursuit of the one thin clue to Professor Sturgeon's whereabouts.
I've gone through this book on rare dialects from cover to cover, Dr. Jonas, not to mention those other books. I'm beginning to think there's no such word as Zuluto in any language on Earth.
I'm beginning to think the same thing, Mr. Kent. I must confess, gentlemen, I'm stumped.
I must confess the same thing. The president of my alma mater, the famous Correspondence School of Detectives Institute, stated that the first rule for a good detective is to be resourceful, but I seem to have exhausted all my resources.
We can't give up now. This is our only clue to Professor Sturgeon, and we've got to solve it before the worst thing that ever happened to this country can happen.
The police are searching for the professor, Mr. Kent, and so are the FBI and Army and Navy intelligence. It's in all the papers and on the radio. Somebody may find him.
Yes, but they may be too late. Peace of the whole world may depend on my finding Professor Sturgeon in time.
On your finding him?
Well, I mean, on our finding him. Oh, think, Dr. Jonas, you're a philologist. Words are your profession.
Yes, I know, but I'm afraid I can do no more, Mr. Kent. The only thing I can suggest is that you consult an expert etymologist.
A what? An etymologist.
Etymology is that branch of philology which treats with the tracing of the origin of words, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, yes, of course.
I have a working knowledge of etymology, of course, but I am not an expert. A man like, say Gordon might be able to track down the word by means of esoteric derivatives, of which he has made a special study.
Gordon, you say?
Yes, Mitchell Gordon. Unfortunately, he's pretty far away in Metropolis, but you could wire him and perhaps receive an answer by tomorrow.
I don't want to wait that long if I can help it, and I think I can. There's a much faster way. Hold the bridge, Horatio. I'll see you later.
Hurrying from Dr. Jonas' home, Clark Kent steps behind a tall hedge, strips off his business suit. Then, as Superman, he leaps into the sunny morning sky and rockets away to the northeast, bound for Metropolis. We'll return in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, this week's Pep Dish of the Week is certainly hep to this summer weather. It's as cool and refreshing as a breeze. Fact is, it's called a blackberry breeze, and it's making a sure hit at many a breakfast table. Easy as a breeze to make, too. All you have to do is to pour your regular serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, in your bowl. Then on top, scatter a shower of juicy blackberries that have been chilled in a little sugar. Pour on cool milk and pitch in. That's a blackberry breeze. And you know, Kellogg's Pep adds wonderful zip to those sugar-crusted berries. Of course, Pep is a neat dish for a summer breakfast in itself. It's light and delicate and tender as can be. Crisp and crunchy, too. And how that golden toasted sunshine flavor does give your appetite the old come on. Makes you dig right in for another spoonful and another until you've finished off every last flake in your bowl. Which is a particularly smart idea nowadays when we're sending the cereal grains to fellows and girls overseas. You don't want to waste cereal. So, gang, when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, appoint yourself a committee of one to help guard against waste. Pass the word along to the rest of your family, too. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Arriving in Metropolis, Superman goes at once to call on Mitchell Gordon, famous etymologist. Now, shortly after noon, we find him once more in the guise and garb of reporter Clark Kent in Editor Perry White's office at the Metropolis Daily Planet.
And that's that, Chief. Mitchell Gordon couldn't trace the word Zoluto either.
This is getting serious, Kent.
Getting serious? It's the most serious thing that ever happened to this country. Professor Sturgeon is one of the few men who knows all the secrets of the atom bomb. If some unscrupulous, ambitious nation forces those secrets from him...
Now, wait a minute. Don't let's start seeing bogeymen.
I'm not,
We've got to keep our heads. There's enough hysteria in the country already about this. Well, what about those pilots in New Orleans? The ones you think flew Sturgeon out of the country?
They're still unable to talk, and maybe for a long time. No, our only clue, I'm afraid, is this word Zoluto.
Well, maybe not. Now, look. Those pilots were gone about 24 hours, from the time they took off from New Orleans to when they radioed they were going to crash in the Gulf, and Superman rescued them, right?
Right. So what?
Well, we knew they were flying a converted Army C-54.
Yes?
We know the range and speed of that plane. With a chart, we ought to be able to figure the places they might have gone.
Wait a minute. Now, there are quite a few places they could have gone, including any one of several countries, islands, jungles, mountains, or what have you.
No. They wouldn't go to an island or a jungle or a mountain.
They might, to make a rendezvous or throw off pursuit and then go on from there.
Yes, I suppose so. Then where are we, Kent? We've got to find Sturgeon, and fast.
I'm glad you finally see that.
What do you mean, finally? I've seen it all along. Well, it's just that I want to keep sane about this thing and not go off half-cocked.
Good. Then maybe I can sell you an idea.
What's that?
It's this word Zoluto. Now, my idea is that we can run...
that Polluto or Zoluto or whatever it is.
Well, now, wait a minute.
I tell you, it's just another of the crack-brained Horatio Horn's brainstorms.
Will you wait, Chief? You said things like that about Horn when he first showed up here to tell us Professor Sturgeon was in danger. But he was right, wasn't he?
Well, yes.
And he's been right a couple of times since. He's a smart little apple, Chief, and I'm convinced he heard this word correctly. Lois backs him up, too.
Okay, so he heard it. Now, where does that get us? No philologist or etymologist or anybody else ever heard of the word, so we can forget it.
Not by a long shot. It's still our only clue. Now, look, Chief, this is what I want to do. Run a word contest in the Daily Planet.
A word contest?
Yes. We'll list several words, say half a dozen or so, from different languages. One of them will be Zoluto. We'll offer a prize of $100 for the correct answer to each word, including its meaning and origin. And a grand prize of $1,000 to whoever knows all the words.
I see what you're getting at. Metropolis has the largest population in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You think someone from whatever country they use the word Zoluto in might see it and write in for the prize.
Exactly. Also, I think...
But why clutter up the contest with words from other languages?
Well...
Why not just come out and ask for Zoluto? That'll attract more attention.
Because the people behind the abduction of Professor Sturgeon have proved they're very clever. I believe they're watching our newspapers and listening to our radios, and we don't want to make them suspicious before we're ready to act.
Well...
Let's try it, Chief. It's our only chance, and it just might work. What do you say?
12:30. If we work fast, we can catch the late edition.
Attaboy, Chief.
Oh, Miss Backrack, tell Donovan to rip out page 1. Tell him I'll have a new layout for him in 20 minutes. Well, what are you standing around for, Kent? Get busy and knock out the copy for the contest.
You bet.
We'll give it a hit on the bottom of page 1.
Right, Chief.
Miss Backrack, get Burroughs and Goldman in here. And yes, a rewrite man. Then tell Larry in the art department that I want...
Snapping up Clark Kent's plan, Perry White goes into action, arranging the contest which he and Kent hope will lead them to the abductors of Professor Sturgeon. Will they succeed? Let's hope they will, because in far-off Bolomar at this moment, Rex and his German and native scientists are working feverishly to complete their plan for an attack upon the United States. What will happen? Tomorrow's episode brings some of the answers, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, think of all the famous names you know, and you'll think of Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Then you'll think of Kellogg's shredded wheat. Makes breakfast loads of fun. Crisp, tender biscuits of whole wheat, toasted just right, and packed with natural nut-sweet flavor. Just the right size, too, made to fit the bowl. As for nutrition, well, Mom knows that whole wheat is mighty good for you. And for economy, she likes the 15 biscuits in every package. Try Kellogg shredded wheat. You'll like it. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, as Rex of Bolomar plots his atom bomb attack, a great contest gets underway in the Daily Planet. A contest to determine the secret locked in the word Shaluto.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, let me tell you about a breezy sort of dish that makes a summertime breakfast mighty refreshing. It's a Blackberry Breeze, this week's Pep Dish of the Week. And it sure does give Kellogg's Pep a chance to rise and shine. Now, here's how you make a Blackberry Breeze. On top of your regular serving of crisp, tender Pep, scatter a shower of blackberries that have been chilled in a little sugar. Finish off with cool milk, and there you are, a Blackberry Breeze, as cool and neat a combination as you'd ever hope to taste. You know, Kellogg's Pep does the trick for those sugar-crusted berries because Pep is full of sparkling sunshine flavor, a come-on flavor that wakes up your morning appetite. Why, Pep is even called the Sunshine Cereal. It's golden and sunny as can be. As for tender crispness, well, you can't beat those delicate whole wheat flakes. They practically melt in your mouth. Yes, sir, with Kellogg's Pep, it's a cinch to eat up every last bit in your bowl. And you know, that's particularly important nowadays when the cereal grains are being sent to fellows and girls overseas. Don't waste cereal. Handle the package carefully if you pour your own Pep. And tip off the rest of your family, too. Remember, gang, it's important to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Abducted and taken to the little country of Bolomar, Professor Alonzo Sturgeon, famous American atom bomb scientist, was given a powerful drug which put him into a half coma and made him reveal the secrets of the bomb. Immediately then, Rex, power-mad dictator of Bolomar, prepared to launch a surprise atomic attack by air against the United States in a week. Meanwhile, Clark Kent, who was vainly trying to learn the origin of a strange foreign word which one of the professor's abductors had used, persuaded Editor White to run a word contest in the Daily Planet, hoping that someone would see and recognize the word and thus reveal the country to which Professor Sturgeon had been taken. As we continue now, it is early evening in Metropolis, and in the modest home of the Partez family, Mrs. Partez is preparing dinner as Mr. Partez chuckles over the funnies in the evening paper.
It is Mutt and Jeff, they're very funny fellows.
You should be ashamed, Papa, for a big man like you to read funny.
Why, I should be ashamed, Maria. I like to read funnies.
Better to read in the papers what has happened to Professor Sturgeon. I am afraid some bad country makes professors tell them how to make atom bombs. Then they drop them on you and me and Eduardo and everybody else in America.
Don't be afraid, Maria. Professor Sturgeon is a fine man, fine American. He not tell anybody about our atom bomb.
Such big talk. You read news page, Papa. See if they find out about Professor Sturgeon yet.
Okay. Well, here. Hunt for missing atom bomb scientist still on.
That means they not find him yet, no?
See, all United Nations pledge aid in search. Now they should to find him, Maria.
Oh, I pray all time they find him, Papa. We are so happy here in America. I wish nothing to happen.
Don't worry, Maria. Will be everything fine. Papa says so. Now stop to worry. Maria?
Yes? What is, Papa?
Hey, Maria, look. This paper is have big contest. They say $100 if anybody can say what word is from what country. And look, Maria, one of the words is saluto.
Saluto. See, I know that. Mean, big fool in Bolomar.
See, we tell Daily Planet saluto is word from our old country, Bolomar, and they pay us $100.
$100? No, this cannot be, Papa. It's too easy.
Look for yourself. Listen, I will read what it says. Give the meaning of any of these 6 words, name the language and the country it comes from, and win $100.
$100? Papa, we can buy new robe for Paula, new dishes and curtains, and maybe a suit for Eduardo, eh?
See, and a new dress for you, Maria.
Oh.
Freno, where is the pencil and paper?
Oh, no. Better you write with pen and ink, Papa. Where did Eduardo put... Oh, here. I have it. Here, write, Papa. And when Eduardo come in for supper, he can mail a letter to newspaper.
Good. How I will write, huh? Uh-huh. Dear Mr.
Laboriously, Papa Bartez writes a letter to the Daily Planet, seals and stamps the envelope, and later that evening gives it to his Eduardo to mail. The next morning, in Editor Perry White's office in the Daily Planet, the gray-haired editor and Clark Kent hear a report from Miss Williams, the librarian, who has been put in charge of the word contest.
We've received over 100 correct answers to the Russian, Finnish, Portuguese, and Chinese words.
Never mind that, Miss Williams. How about the word we want? What is it, Kent? Saluto. Oh, yeah, saluto. How about that?
We haven't a single letter on that word.
No, we haven't, eh?
No.
Now, you see, Kent, I told you it wouldn't work.
Well, the contest isn't over yet, Chief. After all, this is only the first day. And I didn't expect many letters on this word.
But we didn't get even one. If you want my opinion, that word is a figment of that idiot Horn's imagination. There is no such word at all.
Well, I think there is. And I'm hoping that somewhere in Metropolis there's a former inhabitant of this unknown country who'll give us the information we want. Look, Miss Williams,
Yes?
if you receive a letter on this word, bring it to us at once, will you please?
Oh, I certainly will, Mr. Kent. Maybe we'll get one tomorrow.
Here's hoping.
I've just checked with Miss Williams, Kent. 3 days of the contest are over and still not a single letter on that saluto word.
Well, I haven't given up hope yet, Chief. I'm still convinced that the only clue they left is this word saluto.
And I'm convinced you're nuts. I still say there is no such word.
We'll see. Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe.
Mr. White?
Yes, Miss Williams. The contest will be over tomorrow. Now, I was wondering, that word saluto...
Oh, yes. We had one letter this morning.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why didn't you tell me? Where's Kent?
but the answer in that letter was incorrect, Mr. White.
Incorrect? Well, what do you mean? How do you know?
Well, the writer said she thought saluto was an American Indian word. But we checked with the Bureau of Indian Affairs and discovered the lady was wrong.
I see. Well, I expected as much. All right, Miss Williams. That's all. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Mr. White. I'll keep you posted.
Well, the contest is over, Kent. Only one letter on the word saluto, and the lady who sent it in was all wet.
Can't understand it, Chief.
Well, I can. As I said right along, I'm convinced there never was such a word.
But Lois and Horatio Horn both heard one of the abductors use it.
They heard something else and got it wrong.
It's strange that both of them would get it wrong.
Well, they did, and that's that.
I don't know.
The only thing that's been accomplished is the Daily Planet being nicked for several $1,000s.
Well...
We're still as far from finding Professor Sturgeon as we ever were. You and your smart ideas.
Now, look...
I should have known better than to listen to you in the first place.
I'm sorry, Chief. I was sure the contest would work.
As Clark Kent and Perry White face defeat in their attempts to trace Professor Sturgeon, and while the nation's police and intelligence services pursue a relentless search for the missing atom bomb expert, a quite different scene is taking place in far-off Bolomar. There, on the floor of a large underground airport, stand 100 jet-propelled fighter-bomber planes. Nearby is a long brick factory with walls 3 feet thick. From the factory come occasional groups of native men, wheeling dollies on each of which reposes a single, shining, aluminum-covered bomb. Just outside the factory stands the beak-nosed, piercing-eyed Rex of Bolomar, resplendent in a sky-blue military uniform, the great diamond star of Bolomar upon his chest. He speaks angrily to pudgy, bespectacled Dr. Blomberg, the former leading Nazi scientist in atomics.
1 week I gave you, Dr. Blomberg, to complete 10 bombs. This is the end of the week. You have completed only 7.
I'm sorry, Your Excellency. There have been difficulties forcing us to make our bombs somewhat different from the Americans. By tomorrow noon, the others will be completed.
Tomorrow noon? I plan to strike at the United States tonight. My planes are ready. My men are prepared.
I'm sorry, Excellency.
That is not enough. Have I not told you the whole world seeks for Professor Sturgeon? Should they trace him to us before we have attacked, we are lost. Tell me, you are certain the bombs will all be ready by tomorrow noon?
I give you my word, Excellency.
All right. Tomorrow it is, then. We will take off shortly after noon and strike the United States after dark.
His eyes flashing, Rex of Bolomar shakes his clenched fist above his head, vowing destruction to our country. We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, it's mighty swell the way folks come a-running to the breakfast table when Kellogg's Pep heads the menu, and the way they hitch up their chairs and settle down to the business of good eating. Seems like you can hardly resist this sunny golden toasted cereal. And who wants to resist Pep's tender crispness or that sparkling sunshine flavor? You know, Kellogg's Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. Every crunchy flake is loaded with that sunny flavor. Every golden spoonful is a rare treat in itself. And every bowlful of Kellogg's Pep is packed with solid whole wheat nourishment plus. You add it all up, gang, and you get lots of reasons why you'll want to keep right on eating until you've finished off every bit of pep in your bowl. And here's another reason. This is a particularly bad time to waste cereal, because, you see, the cereal grains have been picked out to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls all over the world. So keep that in mind when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. Don't waste it. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. And say, kind of keep watch on your younger brothers and sisters, too. Remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
That evening in the humble Partez home in Metropolis, Papa Partez again sits at the kitchen table with a copy of the Daily Planet. Beside him stands his wife, Maria, reading eagerly over his shoulder.
I cannot understand, Maria. Here are the names of the winners of the contest, but my name is not here.
You are sure, Papa?
See, 3 times I have read the names, and mine is not among them.
Oh.
How can that be? Look, there are no winners for the word Zaluto, yet my letter told of that word. I cannot... Wait. Eduardo.
Yes, Papa?
Come here. The letter I gave you last week to mail to the Daily Planet. You mailed it?
What letter? Oh, yes, the letter. Sure, I mailed it.
You're certain, Eduardo?
Sure, Mom. I took it right down. Oh, jeepers.
What?
Oh, what is it?
The letter. It's right here in my back pocket.
Oh, no, in your pocket?
Oh, gee, I'm sorry. Papa, I forgot all about it. When I got downstairs that day after supper, I ran into a friend of mine, and we got to talking and stopped in for a soda, and, gee, I forgot all about mailing the letter.
Forget. Oh, Zaluto. Now it's no $100.
No new rug, no new curtains, no new suit for you, Eduardo.
What are you talking about? I don't get it.
That letter, it was going to win for us $100.
Oh, gee, Papa, I'm awful sorry.
It's too late now to be sorry. The contest is over.
What contest? What is...
It is no matter now. It is all over.
Maybe it's still not too late, Papa. Maybe you go to a newspaper, say how Eduardo forget to mail letter.
That is no good. The contest is all over, I say.
Maybe you go anyway. Take with you Eduardo. He will say how he forget.
Sure. I'll tell him, Papa.
No. It is too late. It's no more $100 for us.
But, Papa, please, go to newspaper tomorrow.
It is no use. His contest all over.
Carefully, Mrs. Partez pleads with her husband to go to the Daily Planet in the morning. But he, unaware that in his hands he holds Superman's only clue to Professor Sturgeon's whereabouts, stubbornly refuses. This is the 0 hour. Will Papa Partez change his mind and go to Clark Kent and Perry White in the morning? If not, things look bad, because tomorrow at noon, the Rex of Bolomar plans to have his jet planes loaded with deadly atom bombs take off for a surprise attack on the United States. What will happen? Tomorrow's episode is packed with action and suspense, gang, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, here's a famous name that brightens up your breakfast. It's Kellogg, the greatest name in cereals. Kellogg, as in Kellogg shredded wheat. What a treat. Tender, plump biscuits full up with natural nut-sweet flavor and toasted just right for extra crispness. But that's not all. Kellogg shredded wheat biscuits are just the right size, made to fit the bowl. And there are 15 biscuits in every package, each one full of swell whole wheat nourishment. Ask Mom to get you some Kellogg's shredded wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, with the big word contest closed in the Daily Planet, Clark Kent and Perry White fear that their latest effort to find Professor Sturgeon has been in vain.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, Kellogg's Pep sure does have plenty on the ball. Pitches a winning game at breakfast every time. Just think of the scores you can chalk up for Pep. First, golden toasted sunshine flavor. Sunny full wheat flavor. A come-on flavor that keeps your spoon coming right back for more. Why, Kellogg's Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. And Pep is a winner for crisp tenderness, too. Sure, every crunchy flake is light and delicate as can be. And does Kellogg's Pep score for nutrition? It's got loads of solid whole wheat nourishment and more. Your mom will tell you how good Pep is for you. Yes, sir. Kellogg's Pep is a dish your morning appetite can really latch onto. The sort of dish you want to concentrate on until you've eaten up every last bit in your bowl, which is a particularly hep idea nowadays, gang, because you wouldn't want to waste cereal when we're sending the cereal grains to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls overseas. So when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, make sure there's no waste at your house. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. That's the right idea, gang. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Now, the adventures of Superman. When Professor Sturgeon, famous atomic scientist, was abducted and taken to the country of Bolomar, he was given a powerful drug, under the influence of which he revealed the secrets of the atom bomb. Then, working day and night, native and German scientists manufactured their version of the deadly bombs, and the dictator of Bolomar, known as the Rex, set noon of this very day for a surprise attack on the United States as his first step in world conquest. As we continue now, it is almost 9 a.m. in Metropolis, a few minutes before the 0 hour in Bolomar. Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, the little amateur detective, have just returned to Metropolis, and in Editor Perry White's office in the Daily Planet, Clark Kent is bringing them up to date. Listen.
Well, I was hoping our word contest in the Planet would pay off, that somebody would recognize Zaluto, the word you two heard Professor Sturgeon's abductors use, but guess it was no soap.
It's mighty strange. I
don't know. I was sure one of our readers would identify the word.
You were sure. You and your big ideas. I should have known better than to waste time and money.
There's your inter-office phone.
I can hear it. Yes? What is it, Miss Backrack?
There's a Mr. Partez here to see you, Mr. White.
Never heard of him. Tell him I'm...
He's here about the contest.
Well, tell him it's all over.
Well, I told him that, Mr. White, but he insists on seeing you. Something about an entry that didn't get mailed or something.
Excuse me, Chief. Tell Mr. Partez to come in, please, Miss Backrack.
Why of all the colossal
nerve,
you...
Take it easy.
How dare you...
Take it easy, Chief. What can we lose by giving this Mr. Partez a minute? He might be the answer to our prayers.
You think so?
Well, who knows? Why overlook any possibility?
Exactly. We run the contest a full week and nothing happens. And now, somebody walks in here, probably a crank who thinks he should have won a prize, and you...
Excuse me, please. I am Rodolfo Partez. My Eduardo, he's my son. He forgets...
Close that door, somebody! If I must be exposed to this, let's have a little quiet.
I'll close it, and if you want quiet, Chief, stop howling.
Who's howling? You are! What?
You are. Now, Mr. Partez, you were saying...
Si, senor. This letter, my Eduardo, I give him to mail. He talk with friend and forget to mail it to contest.
Well, what word in the contest is your letter about, Mr. Partez?
Is the word saluto.
Saluto? Did you say saluto?
Si, senor. If you look at this letter...
Never mind the letter.
What's the language?
Speak up, man. Wait a minute. All of you, give him a chance to speak. Now, Mr. Partez, about this word saluto. What does it mean?
It means big fool, senor.
Great grasshoppers.
Well, what country's language is this word from, Mr. Partez?
Country I come from, senor.
Well, what country is that?
Bolomar.
Where's that?
A small country far away in big mountains.
Yes, I know where it is. Say, this really adds up. Bolomar is governed by a dictator called Rex.
See. And he is a very bad man.
Probably just a little 10-cent tyrant talking through his hat.
No, not if he has the atom bomb, he isn't.
No doubt about it, by Gulliver. Rex's agents must have abducted Professor Sturgeon.
And they may have the atom bomb secret right now. Chief, call Inspector Henderson. Call the State Department.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is a delicate proceeding. We can't accuse a country without adequate proof. Just because you think somebody said saluto.
That's proof enough to warrant a little quick investigation, Chief. Mr. Partes, you've done us a great service. Thanks very much. I'll see you again.
But wait, senor. The $100 prize for Maria's curtains and dishes and the new suit for Eduardo.
Yes, of course. Mr. White will give it to you. So long, everybody.
Now, wait, Kent.
Where are you going, Claude?
You'd be surprised. I'll be seeing you.
Hurrying across the city room, Clark Kent enters the deserted storeroom, swiftly strips off his business suit, and stands revealed in the blue costume and red cape of Superman. He steps to the window, opens it.
Up, and away!
Leaping from the Daily Planet, Superman veers and rockets away, flashing down across the country, over the Gulf of Mexico and out over the great ocean, bound for Bolomar. But even as he nears a long green coastline, streaks above it and heads for a chain of towering mountains, wrecks of Bolomar's fleet of jet-propelled fighter-bombers, each marked with a tiger's head and star, and each carrying a shining, deadly atom bomb, has roared from the huge underground airport, circled above in the cloudless tropical sky, then zoomed away in formation. From the lead plane in which the Rex himself rides with the German Dr. Blumberg and General Maron, the dictator's voice crackles over the radio to his flight commanders.
Flight commanders, attention. We will proceed in formation to the Gulf of Mexico. There we will disperse as previously arranged in 10 squadrons. Each of you know the Yankee city you are to destroy. By midnight, the United States will be ours. Now, onward for your Rex and Bolomar.
The deadly jet planes loaded with their deadlier bombs spurt through the cloudless sky. Superman has crossed the last range of mountains, sighted them, and his keen sense of hearing has intercepted the Rex's message to his wing commanders. Now he calls on his powerful muscles for speed and flashes toward the 100 planes.
So you're going to destroy our cities, are you? By midnight, the United States will be yours, eh? Well, maybe I'll have something to say about that. Into those planes and smash them. Away! All right, here's the first one, carrying a pretty little atom bomb. I'll take care of that like this. Wow, that explosion almost took the wind out of me. There are two together. Get them. And here are two more. And two more. Now.
Flashing, darting, swooping, his red cape streaming from his shoulders, the Man of Steel dives in among the Rex's planes, batting them like so many flies, seeing them explode with a series of blinding flashes and a deafening roar like the end of time. Great plumes and funnels of smoke climb miles into the sky. Now those planes in close formation begin to explode of themselves as the shattering radioactive fragments of their neighbors reach them and touch into flaming death the atom bombs in their base. For a moment, Superman, awed by the mammoth conflagration that covers the sky with smoke and fire, pauses. Then, spotting a lone plane which had managed to maneuver out of the Holocaust and was streaking back to Bolomar, the Man of Steel rockets after it.
That's Bolomar's head man, Rex, in that ship. Got to get him alive so he can be tried for... Great Scott, I'm too late!
Superman reaches out to grasp Rex of Bolomar's fleeing plane. A piece of falling wreckage, unseen by the Man of Steel, strikes the bomb-laden aircraft. In a blinding flash, it explodes, shooting the great section of its fuselage carrying the atomic bomb downward to shudder into the earth over the underground factories and laboratories of Bolomar. A split second later, the atom bomb shatters into life, blowing the hidden factories, laboratories, and cyclotrons high into the air. Then, disintegrating into dust, they fall slowly back to Earth. Late that afternoon, after Superman had returned with Dr. Sturgeon, extra editions of the Daily Planet screamed the news of his latest exploit in the cause of peace, as again, in the guise and garb of Clark Kent, he stands with Editor Perry White, Lois Lane, and Horatio Horn in the Metropolis Railroad Station, bidding goodbye to the little amateur detective.
Sure you won't change your mind? Stay in Metropolis, Horatio?
No. Thanks very much, Mr. White. But I've had enough excitement to last me a lifetime. I'm going back to Squeen Run, catch up on my sleep, and fishing, by Gulliver.
Professor Sturgeon wants to meet you, Horatio. He'd like to thank you for your part in saving his life.
Shucks, I didn't have much to do with it, Mr. Kent. But you did most... Oh, by Gulliver, that's my train. I've got to run. Goodbye, my friends and colleagues, and when you're in Squeen Run, be sure to look me up.
We'll do that.
Can't miss my house. My diploma from the famous correspondence school for Detectives Institute is framed on the gate post. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Have a nice trip. Well, there goes quite a character. I never would have believed it, but I'm going to miss that little man.
So am I. Well, let's get back to the office and wind up this Bolomar story. Then we'll go home and get some sleep.
Oh, what a day.
Maybe we'll have a few days of peace and quiet now.
On the Daily Planet? I doubt it, Lois. We'll probably get back to the office and find another terrific story waiting for us.
I wouldn't be surprised, Clark.
You're right, Clark. A man is waiting for you in your office at this moment, with a story and a surprise which is going to jar you right down to your heels. Stand by for the beginning of a startling new Superman story.
Say, gang, how about adding a little extra zip to your weekend by adding a little extra zip to breakfast? Sure, have yourself a blackberry breeze, a mighty cool and catchy dish these summer days. That's this week's Pep Dish of the Week, and it's easy as a breeze to fix. You just pour your regular serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, in your bowl. Then on top, scatter some blackberries that have been chilled in a little sugar. Add cool milk, and that's a blackberry breeze. Is it keen? Kellogg's Pep does a neat trick for those sugar-crusted berries. Because Pep is crisp, it's tender, it's full to the brim with snappy sunshine flavor. Why, Kellogg's Pep always tastes a bang-up good. You want to eat up every light, delicate flake in your bowl. And gang, nowadays the cereal grains are being sent to fellows and girls all over the world. So it wouldn't do to waste cereal. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, make sure there's no waste at your house. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and eat up every bit you pour out. And say, pass the word along to your younger brothers and sisters, too. Get the right habit, gang. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Coming back to the Daily Planet with Editor White and Lois Lane, Clark Kent enters his office to find a square-set, square-faced man with a thick mustache sitting in a chair. The man has a black derby hat and a rolled umbrella on his knees, and now he transfers them to one hand as he rises and stretches out his other hand to Kent.
Mr. Kent? Mr. Clark Kent?
Why, yes. Who are you?
Glad to make your acquaintance, Superman.
What did you say?
I said I'm glad to make your acquaintance, Superman. I've come a long way to meet you.
Startled, his jaw dropping, Clark Kent stares down at the square-set, square-faced man who has just called him by his real name, and who now stares back at him unwaveringly. Who is this stranger who seems aware of one of the most carefully guarded secrets in the world, the secret of Superman's double identity? Fellows and girls, on Monday we're beginning one of the most fascinating Superman adventures. One in which the Man of Steel is called upon to exert not only every ounce of his amazing physical powers, but his brain as well, to meet the greatest challenge of his entire career. So be sure to be with us when our story starts. Tune in Monday, same time, same station. And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep. For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Say, gang, when you think of famous names, do you think of Kellogg? That's the greatest name in cereals. And Kellogg makes Kellogg shredded wheat, the tender, plump biscuits made just the right size to fit your breakfast bowl. And are they good? Full to the brim with natural nut-sweet flavor. Good for you, too. Sure, they're made of nutritious whole wheat. What's more, Kellogg gives you 15 delicious biscuits in every package of Kellogg shredded wheat. Try 'em soon. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.